You're looking at a man that is headed to a place that not many men can travel to. You're looking at a man that can be top 5 bound, not only at his position of RB, but potentially overall. You're looking at a man his name's Tony Pollard, by the way, in Tony Pollard, that is headed to Mars. Congratulations, Tony Pollard. You are a Mars man extraordinaire.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars men. Loads dropping and spinning
Pollard
aimlessly in space.
He did it, ladies and gentlemen. He did it. Tony Pollard, welcome to Mars, young man, the Fantasy Football Show. Tony Pollard edition, live edition, mock draft and best ball draft edition, Grindhouse edition begins right now.
FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
I'm so excited to announce that Tony Pollard has moved from the Moon Men list to the Mars Men list. Now, this was a tough decision, and I actually wavered on it not all week. The past, 24 hours, we've been talking about does he move? Does he move Tony Pollard? Or does Kenneth Walker move onto the Mars Man list? Does somebody else move onto the Mars Man list? And I decided that Walker still has a shot to breach the Mars Men list. And it wasn't that I wanted to take off Breece Hall. Breece Hall's got tremendous value, and we talked about this on the earlier show today. That Breece Hall, because and this comment right here is ridiculous, absolute ridiculous. Okafor, you should be ashamed of yourself. Good night, Breece. Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. Breece Hall is a moon man still. What I forgot to mention when we went over this earlier is Breece Hall's on the Moon Men list already.
The Moon Men. Dropping loads in outer space.
He's on the Moon Men list. We had him on the Mars Men list and the Moon Men list. So we're talking about moving
Space Monsters,
someone from this list over to the Mars Man list. And it definitely, I'm still giving consideration to adding somehow, some way, Walker and Sharps together over on the Mars list. But we're like, we'll move Breece Hall over to the Moon Man list. He's already on the Moon Man list. So this allowed me to move Javonte up from this bottom corner. It thinned out the Mars Man list by 1. We threw Pollard over on the Mars Man list. We kept Javonte in the running back column. Hall's not going anywhere. He's still a Moon Man. And on that note, he's also a midseason monster, because Breece Hall is going to, I believe, explode later in the season, and this is just smart to do it this way. It doesn't mean that we don't believe in Breece Hall. He's a Moon Man, for goodness sakes. He's a Moon Man. I have him on the Moon Man list. He's always been there. I didn't realize I had him on both just earlier today when I was talking about it. But we now have Breece Hall on Breece Hall on the Moon Man list. We have Tony Pollard moved over to the Mars Man list. This feels good, though. This feels really good. And when we look at this Mars Man list, it looks phenomenal.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars men.
Tony Pollard is in the first slot. Gibbs in the second.
Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
Garrett Wilson in the third spot. Tony Pollard right there in the middle. Chase, Bijan, Joe Burrow, Fields, and Olave. And I want to put Kenneth Walker here. We'll see. We have time. The Moon Man list and the Mars Men list get locked down once the season begins. But congratulations to Tony Pollard, who is added to this list. Now let's talk about Pollard for a second. And let's talk about why he's such an important player walking into the 2023 season. Is there risk involved? There's a little bit of risk. And let me touch on the risk after we talk about the upside, because the risk isn't that crazy. And there's concern about long-term value, dynasty versus redraft, because of some of that risk. We'll get into it in a second. The risk is very minute. At the end of the day, you're looking at a man. You're looking at a man that was the most efficient running back in the National Football League. in terms of touching the football and what he did when he got the football in his hands. This guy is a 5-yard per carry running back. This guy is a 12-plus total touchdown running back. This guy can be a 1,000-yard running back on the ground, although you don't want him running for 1,500 yards, 1,800 yards. He is more of a 1,200, 1,300, 1,100. I mean, he really could get like 1,100 yards and get you like 600 receiving. What he gets in receiving will determine what he gets in rushing, and what he gets in rushing will determine what he gets in receiving. It's not like he's going to have a 600, 700-yard receiving season if he has the 1,400 yard rushing season. But combined yards, you got to think he's over 1,800 total yards. You got to think he's going to run for 1,200, let's call it, and in a worst case scenario, pull in 5 bills through the air. So if he pulls in 5 bills through the air, runs for 12, this guy's out there doing 1,700 yards of total damage between rushing and receiving yards, and 12 to 14 touchdowns. Let's call it 12 to 15 touchdowns. Call it 60 plus receptions is a very fair number. And for the negative Noah out there, or the petrified Peter, or the unaware Unger, or the ridiculous Rick, or the absolute nostalgic Ned that just thinks that things don't change. It's okay. How could he be a top 5 running back, Smitty? Because that's what I'm trying to tell you. And let me put this on the screen so that it's very clear as to what I'm saying. Top 5 running back, right on screen. For the nostalgic Ned that is going to come in here and go, okay, Smitty, I'm having a tough time digesting this one. You're trying to tell me he's beating out Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb, and Mixon. And yes, like I'm telling you, he's cracking the top 5. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to partake. No one's forcing you to draft Tony Pollard. No one's forcing you to get into the DeLorean and punch the flux capacitor to a full 10 and say, we're going into the future, young man. You can live in the past. In fact, we'll take a little side trip, drop you off in 1987 or whatever the hell, 1956, 87, whatever it was, and we're going to drop you off there, and you can play whatever fantasy games you want while we go into the future where this man's a top 5 RB, where this man's scoring 12 to 14 touchdowns, where this man's scoring a 60 plus dropping a 60 plus reception season, where this man's dropping 1,700 yards, maybe 1,800 total yards, where this man's being called, I don't know if he can hold up, he's kind of smaller or something, right, Smitty? I hear that from the analyst down the corner. He says all the time that Tony Pollard can't handle the workload, Smitty. Well, maybe you should look at the details. Maybe you should pull up his profile and say, oh, good God, this guy's 6'0". He's taller than Bijan Robinson. Oh, good God, this guy's 209 pounds. He weighs the same amount as Bijan Robinson. Oh, goodness gracious. You add those two together, carry the one, he's bigger than Bijan Robinson. And here we got nostalgic Ned regurgitating what the content creator Clifton is out here doing, saying, he can't handle the full workload. Zeke, that's why they had Zeke there. Deuce Vaughn's a must cuff, I might add. Deuce Vaughn's not taking his job. No one is there to take his job. He only has injury standing in his way of being a top 5 RB, being a league winner, being a first-round player. Tony Pollard, in my opinion, deserves to be drafted at the bottom of round 1 at this point. With Zeke Elliott going to New England, and we talked about this initially once the Zeke Elliott news broke, with Dalvin Cook in New York, there's no threat anymore. There's no threat, not to mention Deuce Vaughn looked so good in his last preseason game. And you could say preseason, whatever. He looked so good and efficient and proved all we needed to see is, can Deuce Vaughn hang with the big boys? Deuce Vaughn hung with the big boys. Deuce Vaughn didn't get manhandled. If you think Deuce Vaughn, because he's 5'5", the shortest active participating player in the National Football League, you heard me correct. The shortest, 5'5". That's about right here. Let's just see. Let's measure 5'5". Hold on. Let's get a measurement here. Let's get a measurement here. We got a tape measure somewhere, don't we? We got a tape measure somewhere. I don't know. Do we got a tape measure? I don't know if we got a tape measure. Where's the tape measure when you need it? I don't think I have one. I have one in here. I just can't find it. 5'5" is probably about, if I had to guess, 5'5" is probably about right here. Like when I hug Deuce, probably could put my head on his chin, or my chin on his head. I probably could. I imagine I could. I imagine if I hug Deuce Vaughn, there'd be some sort of like lowering of the chin on his head. I'd give him a nice little pat, and we hug it out. 5'5", 5'5". Let me tell you something. This 5'5" stocky dude went out there and broke ankles during the preseason, and he was knifing through the offensive line, finding tiny cracks and making big plays. He is a must cuff for Tony Pollard owners. Must. I'm going to do a cuff video. He's definitely in the top 5 or 6 in terms of cuffing players to their starter, but he's not a threat to take his job. And this is the best possible situation you can find in fantasy football, is having a guy good enough to support if you need to throw him in. Okay? Let's say Pollard, God forbid, gets abducted by aliens for 2 weeks but is brought back safely. No probing, nothing. He's good to go that third week, and he misses 2 weeks. Deuce Vaughn fills in and scores running back 2 numbers for you. He's not taking his job, though. He's too small to take his job. He cannot hold up at the NFL level of a 15-carry running back for like a half a season or a whole season. He could do like 5-6 games probably and do fine. Like if you had him in there, he's a must cuff. But this man, Tony Pollard, is capable of leading the entire league in total yards if they use him properly. And McCarthy scares me a little bit because they're going away from a Kellen Moore system that was potent, top 5, very balanced. And now McCarthy wants to apparently run the damn ball. Now, maybe he's just kind of running his mouth. Maybe he's not going to convert this offense into such a different type of offense that it backfires and they've got to reel it all back and try and redo some things. But I'm telling you right now, Tony Pollard he's Mars bound for a reason.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars men. Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
Do we have a Tony Pollard animation? I don't think we do. We need one. I need to get on top of that. Tony Pollard, drop some Tony Pollard emojis for me. And the one small negative to the situation from a Dynasty perspective, the only negative to Tony Pollard is the injury doesn't concern me. He had the surgery, his leg's fine. Word is he's an absolute amazing health and everything's good to go. Not even a concern at all. The only part that would bother me even a little bit from a Dynasty perspective, or does because I own him, is that he doesn't have a long-term deal. And he got injured last year. So if for any reason, even a freak injury hits him, like it's not his fault, like somebody just comes in, clips his leg, he tears his ACL, knock on wood, there would be very little job security for him because he'd be coming off another surgery. And if this happened like early on and he proved nothing at that point, like if he had half a season of being an elite player, led the league in rushing, something like that, and then he'd have some job security and some ability to fight for a big contract, even coming off of that injury, walking into free agency, or potentially getting franchise tagged again. But Tony Pollard, if he gets hurt initially and doesn't prove anything, then guess what? A team is going to be hard pressed to be like, okay, you got hurt the 1 year you were kind of leaned upon, you got injured last year. I don't know that we can trust you as our starting running back and pay you starting running back money. So there's that one small concern from a Dynasty perspective. But that's a negative outlook, and there's no reason to assume that he's not going to explode in 2023 and potentially land one of the bigger contracts that running backs could get in the 2024 offseason. I'm loving Tony Pollard this year. He is a Mars man extraordinaire. Here's the Moon Man list one more time, where Breece Hall never left it. I just forgot he was on the Moon Man and Mars Man list. So we took Breece Hall off of the Mars Man list, put him on the midseason monsters list, but left him on the Moon Man list and put Tony Pollard, transferred his moon papers, put him on a shuttle overnight, didn't tell anybody. He just arrived there this evening. We got him on light speed. He landed on Mars. He's on Mars right now. Tony Pollard is unpacking his suitcase on Mars right this very second.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars men.
One of the most unbelievable looking Marsmen lists I've ever seen in my life.
Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
That could be because no one else has a Marsman list. But anyway, it looks phenomenal to me. And then this Moonman list.
The Moon Men. Dropping loads in outer space.
So again, Hall was not added. He's been on this list. Tony Pollard moved off it. We moved Javonte, who is down here, into that empty, vacated Tony Pollard spot. I could have left Tony Pollard on here, but I think because we're emphasizing him on the Marsman list, I think I could take him off. I could put him back on just to for record, because he was on here, and there are some repeated players. Like Bijan's on both. Why can't Bijan be on both? Or why can Bijan and Gibbs be on both, but Pollard not? So I might rework that and put Pollard back down here or something, but I removed it on a whim, and I feel good about it. I think it was the right move. Doesn't mean I don't believe in Breece Hall. And the reason Breece Hall is a Moon Man, the reason Breece Hall remains on the Moon Man list, not added, he remains on it. He's been on it all offseason long. I just forgot he was on there. When we were looking at it, we didn't even notice he was there. The reason he's a Moon Man is because at 6th and 7th round value, you're winning a league with Breece Hall. He's a Moon Man from like a different perspective. You could technically take him off and then re-put him back on from a different angle and just say from a 6th or 7th round perspective, that's absolute steal. We have some super chats here that I need to get to. We got a $20 hauler. Andre, you still here? I'm sorry about the wait, Andre. I just had to get through that rant. Andre dropping a $20 hauler. Not only are you the first super chatter of the night getting a standing ovation,
Mashed potatoes!
but you also, Andre, get the $20 hauler button.
Alert. Super chat alert. Alert.
My guy, Andre, dropping fire. Smitty, who should I take at the second pick if JJ is picked? Bijan or Chase? 10 team PPR. If it's 3 wide receivers, I mean, it is smart to go. Oops, I need to take that off. It is smart to go Chase, I think. But if it's 2 wide receivers and 2 running backs and then a flex, I would be tempted to go Bijan. But you almost want to try and trade down too. I always recommend people try and trade down because it does feel like Bijan's value is very, very different. Andre, please appreciate your super chat first and foremost. The safe move, Chase. Moving down isn't a bad idea. Moving down isn't a bad idea. That's always something you could look and explore, look at. God, broskies, I'm so excited about Tony Pollard. I'm so excited about Tony Pollard's season. Andre, appreciate you. Andre to the moon. Andre, if you got a follow up, hit me with it, and I'll come back and circle around. Screwed, I'm dropping Boyd and picking up Dell. I don't mind that at all, Jared. Chase is Smitty's number 1, but he loves Bijan just as much. No wrong answer, says Vampy. Thank you, Vampy. Pollard is breaking Martian tackles as we speak, says Dakota. Tank Dell, let's go. Are you loving Bijan at 3? Of course I am. What do I look like? An a-hole? Bijan to the moon. To the moon. AGM. Saw Breece and Walker fall to the 6. Who you taking? Walker before Hall right now. That's just smart. Doesn't mean that Breece Hall can't outscore him or anything like that. But Walker, this is why the hero RB strategy is so amazing right now. You know, or even zero RB. Hero RB or zero RB. Hero being you take Bijan in round 1, then you ignore the running back position until rounds like 5, 6, 7. And you take Walker, you take Pacheco, you take Hall, you take Swift, you take a bunch of those RBs right there, Javonte. And the same thing for zero RB. You're just going wide receiver, quarterback, wide receiver, and then you do the same thing. Only instead of having Bijan and 1 or 2 of those guys, you have just 2 or 3 of those guys and no Bijan. or Pollard. Pollard could be your hero RB. I almost feel like redoing the video now and just saying, you know what, Pollard. Actually, you know what? I still have a way to do that, because if we talked about draft picks 1 through 9, right? You're not taking Pollard at 9 or above. So come to think of it, it's going to be perfect for the zero or the zero RB video. I can say hold. There is a strategy for going RB here, and it's to go Tony Pollard. Or I'll do another video just saying if you're in picks 9 through 12 and you want to go RB, here's your option. Tony Pollard. Buckle up. Do it live. Thank you, AGM, for the super chat. Fantastic scenario to work out. And that's a tough one, my guy. A very, very tough one. Grin. Grin says 12-man Superflex PPR 11 pick. Most likely all 8 good QBs going. What rounds QB should I target if I go Tyreek and Hero RB and Bijan? I mean, bro, it wouldn't be crazy to go A-Rod and Jordan Love with your 3rd and 4th round picks. I mean, that's the only answer. That's the answer. That is the answer. You get both those guys, and then you go 2 non-quarterbacks at that 11 turn, situation. That's it. I've gone Jordan Love. I told you all like months ago, but also a week ago, when we were on a live stream and I said I'd rather have Jordan Love than Deshaun Watson, and a few of you thought I was absolutely asinine. How's that looking now? Maybe some of you still would rather have Deshaun Watson, and that's fine. But and remember, I said cost of entry, though, is included, but I would pass on Deshaun Watson to draft Jordan Love to start Jordan Love. Absolutely. How's that looking now? It's looking pretty good, isn't it? You're starting to like Jordan Love now, aren't you? He's an absolute baller, and he's ready to turn heads and make all the doubters look like silly fools, bro. And it's coming. It's coming right away. Week 1 approaching very fast, ladies and gentlemen. Isaac, you're late. We talked about Tony Pollard becoming a Mars man. Moving from the Moon Men to the Mars Men list. Breece Hall was on both the Mars Men and the Moon Men list already, so we just took him off the Mars Men list and added him to the midseason monsters on top of remaining a Moon Man.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
We're not taking him off the Moon Man list. I don't care what any of you say. He remains. He remains, and he will remain. Go with those 2 quarterbacks, bro. I'm telling you. Avery says, are you loving Bijan at 3? Well, Avery, I assume you've been here for a while. I don't know if this is a double confirmation Donnie type of question. Because, I mean, bro, I'd take him at 1. You know that, Avery. You've been here for months. I'll take him at 1. I'll take him at 1, Avery. Thank you, Avery. Appreciate you. Zach says, would you trade Jordan Addison for a first rounder? I would rather have a first rounder if I thought it could lead to like another trade. But Jordan Addison is worth the first rounder. The first rounder is worth the first rounder because it is a first rounder. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, Jordan Addison is definitely a mid to late first rounder. He's not an early first rounder, but he's definitely like smack in the middle. So it seems like, you could argue it either way. I don't think there's an answer to it. I guess the question would be, could you potentially turn it into something like crazy? Could you flip it into something different? Jeffrey says, Pollard is my running back 4. Bijan my running back 1. Couldn't agree more, Jeffrey. That's why you gravitate toward this channel. I think I got all the super chats out of the way for now. Drop super chats if you've got them, and let's get to the draft, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, in front of your face, let's see here. Right in front of your face is not the draft ready yet. Let me see if I can get to it. Hold on. All right, here we go. We're going to go into the Best Ball Mania, or not Mania. We're going to go into the Puppy 3, which is the 3rd card. For those of you that have not signed up on Underdog yet, do it now, do it quickly, and then draft alongside of us if you don't get in. I just dropped the link right there. Let me pin the link in the live chat. That way it will be there for anybody that's coming in late. Let's see here. Let me pin this real quick. Hold on. Okay, I'll pin it real quick. And then basically, what we're going to do is we're going to click on the link. Go to Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. The link is in the description. I'm pinning the link right now in the live chat. The link is in the description of every single video. So that's how you get in. Let me turn my fan on because the sweater. I got to wear my Grindhouse gear during this Grindhouse show. This episode is brought to you by, as every graveyard episode, every midnight or 1 a.m., every graveyard show is brought to you by Grindhouse this year. Every single one of them. GRNDHAUS, vintage movie tees straight from the attic. I'm wearing the yellow spider right now. It's an unbelievable. Look at this thing. The spider, it's got the movie poster print on the back. I love nothing more than movies and then like apparel and football. Those are like my three favorite things. I got two of them right here in one pop. Go get your Godzilla, your King Kong, your Beast, your Spider, all these amazing vintage hoodies from over 40 years ago, original prints on t-shirts. Let me drop the link to Grindhouse right now. And we got a special shirt coming out that I can't wait to show you guys. Let me drop the Grindhouse link right here. Grindhouse, there it is. Click that link, order away. We got the Law Dog, the milk shirt coming. The milk shirt, the Law Dog shirt. We have a shirt coming with this on it.
Law Dog Milk for mains on sale this season. Soak your mane and win a league. Law Dog Milk.
Pour, soak, win. No, we're not selling the actual milk, but we will be selling t-shirts through Grindhouse. They're going to have some awesome opportunities for getting a free t-shirt, that t-shirt, buying it or getting it free by purchasing like a hoodie or something else. So we're gonna have that coming soon. So I'll be wearing and sporting those shirts during the live streams because I want nothing more than a Law Dog hoodie or shirt or whatever. I'm going to see if they can give me a hoodie right now. They're sending me a couple shirts for just a test shirt. 10 team. This is a $20 hauler.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Appreciate you, my guy. MCF 1988. Appreciate you. 10 team auction QB. Herbert, Fields. So it's got to be a 2 QB, right? Superflex auction QB, Herbert, Fields, Kenneth Walker, Gibbs. Absolutely love that. Pierce couldn't have done a better job at RB. Wide receivers are unbelievable, even in the 10-man. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Christian Watson, Hopkins, Pitts. Need a kicker defense spot. Asked Bijan Hill owner, but don't know what to offer. Any trade targets. Pierce, I mean, I want you to keep Kenneth Walker and Gibbs. I want you to keep your quarterbacks. Bijan and Hill owner. Bijan would be nice, but can you get him using like Keenan Allen and Pierce or Keenan Allen, Hopkins, and Pierce? I'd literally, in this 10-man league where your waivers are probably saturated with players, bro, I'd probably easily get rid of that combination of guys and come in strong with a 3. I don't even know if you could take all 3 players, but I'd do that. I'd give up Pierce, Hopkins, and Keenan Allen for Bijan easily. I'd do that for Hill. I'd do all that for Hill, either one of those. Overpay because your waivers are probably saturated with talent that you can't even pick up. I guarantee you Tank Dell's sitting out there, Deuce Vaughn's sitting out there. You probably can't even roster those guys because it's such a crazy league. Charles T, thank you for the super chat. 1983, you're the man. 1988. You're the man. Charles T, 10-man, half PPR, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 2 flex. Would you go 0 RB or hero RB? 4-pick Bijan? Absolutely. But you gotta let it play out. You can't just decide that until you're on the clock in round 2 to see what players are there. But you could even start with Olave, and then you could change directions and go Gibbs in round 3 and say never mind. So would I go that route? Yeah. Would I cement it in? No. Never cement it in. Always go with the flow. Charles T, you know that, and appreciate your super chat and your support. Thank you, MCF 1988. Thank you, Charles T. Thank you to all my super chatters. Grin, appreciate Grin dropping his super chat. Appreciate Jeffrey and all you. Okay, so we're getting in here. Here we go. We're going to do a mock draft tonight, too. We're doing a mock draft tonight. Absolutely. So, Lone Sentinel, Thomas Vamp, all you guys talking about it, we're doing a mock draft. We're doing a mock draft right after this. Maybe like in the middle. I may just do both at the same time, but wait until later to start the mock draft. Click on the Puppy 3. This is $1 million in prizes. $200K to first place. Second place is $100K. Third place is $60K. So on and so on. It's 1 QB, 2 running back, 3 wide receivers, 1 flex, a tight end, 10 bench spots. Click the green button now. Jump in now. Do it live. Click it. Go. I'm clicking it now too as well. 7 more to start. Click the link. It's in the live chat. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. They'll match up to $100 in your first deposit. I pinned the link. 1 spot left. And if you didn't get in, that's okay. Click the link anyway. If you didn't get in, click the link and get ready for next time. Or click the link and just play in a draft alongside of us. There's no shame in drafting right alongside of us and using the knowledge you're absorbing from the draft. You know what I'm saying, broski? So, all right, jump in. Here we go. Let's do it live. Should I trade back from the 4th pick? I don't think so, Manny. Just take Bijan. Take Chase. Bijan, Kelsey. I think it's a great pick. I don't think I want to trade out of that. Let's see here. We got Ron Navy in the building. Ron, appreciate you. Prayers up for Ron Navy. And Scotty Dew as well in Hawaii. Good God, Scotty. Are you okay? How is Gustavo? And how are you doing with all the stuff going on in Hawaii? PPR traded away Pollard, Devontae Smith, Herbert, Chubb, St. Brown, Pacheco. Also got Javonte second day. Let's see, what is it? PPR traded away Pollard, Devontae Smith, Herbert for Chubb, St. Brown, Pacheco. I don't really know what we're looking at here. Is this a super flex? I hope to God not, because if you traded away Herbert, but who's your quarterback? You know, like I got to know all that. At the end of the day, I mean, Pollard over Chubb for me, even though you might disagree or some might disagree. I want Pollard over Chubb. I do. I just do. That's what this whole video is about. St. Brown is phenomenal. St. Brown over Devontae Smith. So right now the Pollard Smith side's winning. Herbert over Pacheco. Unless I know what your QB is, I wouldn't have done that, Gustavo. I would have kept the Pollard, Devontae Smith, Herbert side. Oh, I'm sorry. St. Brown's on the other side. So you lost at running back, but it's tied. A lot of people like Chubb. St. Brown's better than Devontae Smith. Herbert crushes Pacheco, but we have no idea on the quarterback. I probably would have kept the Pollard, Devontae Smith, Herbert side, but it depends on your quarterback. If you've got Burrow and you had Herbert for some reason and you could only use one of them, then it makes sense. Then you're kind of doing like an upgrade to your lineup type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So I'm in the 10 hole. We'll see what I'm going to do here. Eckler, A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Nick Chubb, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Garrett Wilson. Amon-Ra's been going so early. I'll go Garrett here. DJ Speedy's in the house. Hold is there. There's a lot of people in here I think that I recognize. I think we got about 7 or 8 of these slots are ours, or maybe 9. Christian Watson or Judy. Watson by a mile, Randy. Watson by a mile. Scotty Dew, prayers up to you, pal. Prayers up to you. Hurts in. Okay. So I'm going to go Pollard here. I'll go Pollard and I like this. Garrett Wilson, Pollard. I'm taking Pollard. Pollard is the player of the day, the player of the show. I got him at 15. Feel very comfortable with that because to me he's a potential first-round player that you're getting at that value. So excellent start, I think, in my case. A.J. Brown, a hurt stack looks good, Speedy. Hold at the bottom has at the end of the draft has Eckler and Devontae Adams, Lamb and Amon-Ra, Diggs and Nick Chubb. Here we go. Smitty, would you pick up Hurts or Josh Allen in the 3rd round? I would go Hurts myself. After Bijan round 1, Amon-Ra. Bijan, Amon-Ra, and Hurts would be electric. Would be just absolutely sick. Just disgustingly good. Such a good start. If Omar, if you've got Hurts or Josh Allen with Bijan and St. Brown, that would be disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. By the way, we're almost at 20.2K. We literally are gaining probably about 150 to 200 subscribers in the last like 24 to 30 hours. Things ramp up really hardcore. This isn't uncommon in August, September, October, November. But please subscribe if for any reason you're watching and you have yet to subscribe. Like, it helps the channel out a ton, please. And also, tell people, tell a friend. If you don't want to tell somebody in your direct, competitive league, there are people at your work. Tell people in jerseys, getting in elevators at Starbucks, guys sitting there in a Raider jersey, and say, turn on the show, Smitty's talking about Jimmy G. Just whatever you got to do. All right, so after Pollard, it went CeeDee Lamb, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, Waddle, Devontae Smith, Chris Olave, Calvin Ridley. Bijan Ridley is a great start. Chase and Derrick Henry. Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, and who are you gonna stack with the JJ and Higgins? Is it gonna be like is large boat? Is large boat gonna go Burrow early or something crazy? Let's see what he does. Ramondre. Woo! I don't think this guy heard. I'm sorry, large boat. Are you in the chat? It's best ball you can't trade. So if that's your guy, you're probably not gonna get him back at the tail end of the fourth. So I understand, but man, I would have taken Jahmyr Gibbs over Ramondre at this point. And Jahmyr Gibbs went at 3.2. Christian Watson, Ridley, Bijan. Nice job, Ron. Lunchbox has Christian, McCaffrey, Olave, and Mahomes. That is a sick combination, my guy. That is a very sick combination. Tyreek, Devontae Smith, and Josh Allen's very nice. Press has Jalen Waddle, Cooper Kupp. I don't like Waddle in the mid-second. I just don't at all. It's just too early. Scotty Duke says 10-team single QB, Herbert, CMC, Chubb, St. Brown, Hopkins, Waller, Madison, Cooks, Godwin, Pacheco, Juju, Zeke, White. But have you told me who your quarterback would be if you traded away Herbert? Like, who's your quarterback going to be? I don't know that you're showing it to me. Also, you're not on Maui. Okay, that's good. That's good, bro. All right, I'm almost on the clock here. So I'm on the clock. Debo seems to be a guy that always seems to fall to me, and I don't even want to take him half the time, but I do because, let's see here. I'm going to go early Fields here and just say, give me that quarterback play and give me that amazing trio. Fields, Pollard, Garrett Wilson. Just overachievers, Overachievers by a country mile. Just absolutely loving that combination there. Justin Herbert. No, but if you trade away Herbert is what I'm trying to ask you, Scotty. If you trade away Herbert, what are we doing here? CMC. He keeps typing Herbert over and over. That was in the trade, Scotty. I get that Herbert was in the deal. London, okay, Debo. So, Najee's here. ETN I like a lot. I'll go ETN. So, Justin Fields, Tony Pollard, ETN, Garrett Wilson. All right. Scotty's not answering my question. Scotty, call into the phone line for goodness. Oh, he is. Scotty, for goodness sakes.
Yo,
for goodness sakes. I'm asking you that who's the quarterback if Herbert's not on your team? And you keep typing Justin Herbert, Justin Herbert, Justin Herbert. I can read.
Justin Herbert's my quarterback. I traded away the running back. The running back Herbert.
Oh. See, that was where I was confused.
Yes. I traded away. Basically swapped Pacheco I got Pacheco instead of Herbert, but I got Amon-Ra and Chubb, dude. But that's my team.
Yeah, I don't
That's
mind.
my team now.
I don't mind that. I love Pollard. I like Pollard more than Chubb, so I would have left him out. And you probably could have. I bet you the guy liked Chubb more. But I want Pollard. I just think Pollard. That's what this whole show is about tonight. He's a top 5 running back. He's a potential 12 overall player, 12, 13 turn player for me now. But St. Brown's a really nice. Not that Devontae Smith can't be just as good. It's a tough call, bro. It's very even. You could easily argue both sides of that trade, but I think in general, from a redraft perspective, most people would want Chubb and St. Brown over Pollard and Devontae Smith. But it's very close, man. It's a really good trade.
I agree with you on that. I think most people want Amon-Ra and Chubb. I mean, I got Pollard other places. I know he's going to do great. A part of me feels that, he's not going to be that, 250, 300 carry guy like Chubb. So, I don't know. It's pretty even, but I kind of wanted to mix
but you don't need him to be a 300 carry guy like Chubb. You need him. It's all about total yards for Pollard. Pollard, I think, will have a 1,800 total yard season. So Chubb's not going to get near the receiving production, but he will get a lot of rushing production. Chubb won't get the same PPR work. So Pollard in a PPR format, I think, is a touch more valuable. But that's just me. Look, Chubb could have a top 5 running back season. The only thing that concerns me is he scored 0 touchdowns for the 6 straight games to end the year. And that was the 6 straight games that Deshaun Watson came in. And Watson's looked spotty in camp and everything. So, but yeah,
I have CMC. It's okay.
But hey, bro, most people would like the trade, and I don't think you did. I mean, it's even. It's almost like an even Steven trade. It was like you both just kicked each other in the nuts and called it a day. One shot each. It was even, almost like a why do it type of trade in a sense. Unless you love those players, you wanted those players, so then it makes sense. Go after your guy. Go after whoever you want, bro. You're Scotty Doo. You can do anything you want.
And then I was also saying in another league, I traded away Connor, and the guy gave me Javonte, so I think that was a pretty good win.
Yeah. Bro, I had somebody in my comments today. I think it was in my comments, not on Instagram. It was the comments on YouTube. Yeah, it was on comments on YouTube. And they said, bro, I'm not into Hall, because they were responding to my Hall video, and they're in the comments. A lot of people, there's a lot of haters in the comments after the video, usually. And the guy said, I'd rather have James Conner than Breece Hall. I was like, what is going on here? What is going on
trying
here?
to get Breece Hall, nobody's biting though.
Don't trade him.
I'm trying to get Breece.
Trying to get him. Yeah.
Nobody wants.
Well, you said nobody's biting like
him.
a trade offer. Yeah. I mean, it just happens. It just so happens anybody that has Breece Hall in my leagues does not believe the negativity, and so I can't pry him away. Just like you, it's not. I'm seeing all this overreacting Oscars everywhere, and yet I'm not seeing that in my leagues, unfortunately. But I know it's existing. I know everybody is freaking out. What's up, Great Scott? Appreciate you being here. Great Scott.
What do you have a brief? Do you have a brief opinion on Zeke, on what he might be able to do, or might be steal those touchdowns away?
Yeah, I'm not excited about Ramondre, bro. The guy in this draft took Ramondre at the 3.1. I don't know if that guy's in here. You can call in and debate it a little bit if you want. It's not that anybody's going to yell at you and say, "Oh my God, I can't believe you believe in Ramondre. He's a phenomenal player," but he's clearly in Bill's doghouse or something, and he worries the hell out of me. And I just don't think I want a part of that situation right now. I need a wide receiver pretty bad, and I really believe in JSN this year. I'm starting to really, really get excited about him. I'm going to go ahead and take him here as my number 2 wide receiver. It's not early because he ranked really high on the pre-rank, but, one could say that's a cheap wide receiver, too, that you're going to be hopeful turns into a more expensive vehicle. But right now I feel pretty good about that team right there. Garrett Wilson, Tony Pollard, Justin Fields, Travis Etienne, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. I feel pretty good about it. I think it's a really good squad.
What do you think about Tank Bigsby? I have him on a lot of benches.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good cuff, but I don't know that I feel, I don't feel like Etienne has to be bad if Bigsby's good. I think that Bigsby's a must-have, must-cuff, but I don't necessarily think that because he gets goal line work or something that ETN can't thrive in the passing game. You know, I think he will.
What if ETN goes down? How would you view Tank?
If who goes down? What?
If ETN goes down and gets hurt again, what would your overview be on Tank?
Then he's going to have a good season for sure.
That's how I feel. It's more just, just chilling, I guess.
I'm going to go Javonte.
What about Zamir White?
Here.
You think Jacobs going to come back?
Yeah, Jacobs is coming back. I mean, what's he going to do? Is he really going to sit out? He's not going to sit out. He's not going to sit out. But if he did, like, part of me wonders if the Raiders are in that let's move on and just shock the world. And I mean, think of it. The Raiders are totally capable of rescinding that franchise tag. And then he can go sign anywhere he wants. And then Jacobs will be like the most talked about player in fantasy for weeks. And what if he lands somewhere crazy? Wouldn't shock me at all. It really wouldn't. But I don't think it's going to happen. It's a very, very tough thing to envision happening. But I don't know. I'm definitely staying clear. The two players, like, you know how I did that 10,000 times, 5 or 10,000, I forget what I did on the no Todd Gurley. I kind of feel like it's a waste of content, though. But it does send a message, and people did enjoy it. When I said no Todd Gurley 5 or 10,000 times in a row, it took me hours. And I just sat there on a live stream going, no Todd Gurley, no Todd Gurley, no Todd Gurley. So if I had to do a video, I would say no JT, no Jacobs, no JT, no Jacobs, no JT, no Jacobs. And I would say it 10,000 times in a row. If anybody would be interested in that video, I know people would just say, well, I'd rather just have content. But, I mean, that's how it's awareness. It's awareness. It's to hammer home the point that these are two must-avoid players.
I've seen your recent video about talking about Monty and Gibbs. What can you say about maybe those that haven't seen that video? Because I have Monty in a lot of leagues that I've drafted later on, and I still think that he's a good later mid-round pick, especially for those leagues that have 2 or 3 flex options, that could sneak in and maybe get 8 to 10 touchdowns, maybe crack 1,000 rushing yards.
Monty,
what do you think?
Gibbs has nothing to do with Monty. Monty has nothing to do with Gibbs. They're completely separate players, separate roles for the team. The amount of volume is completely unrelated. Like, they're not. Monty's going to get his work no matter what. No matter what, Gibbs is going to get his work no matter what. Mm-hmm. Like, it makes me laugh when people say, "Do you think Gibbs is going to have?" I think Gibbs is going to get a lot of work stolen from him. I just don't think those people they're listening to the same like content creators saying it over and over. They're not. There's no concern whatsoever about Gibbs getting more work than he can handle. Like, way more work than he can handle. Gibbs cannot take on even half of the workload that is available to the RB/RB weapon, the wide back, the inverse wide back. Like, he Detroit runs the ball 450 times this year. Like, Gibbs isn't getting even half of that work, bro. He's not even getting close to half of the total carries. Monty could get 220 carries, and it has nothing to do with Jahmyr Gibbs. And I think Monty will get those carries. So that's good. Right. Monty has standalone value, but they cost too much to own both of them. And there may be a time where it's like, I don't think it's smart to have both of them in your roster, just like it wasn't extremely productive to have Kareem Hunt and Chubb in your roster. Because if Detroit does have a bad game, boom, you get hit there. It's just not something.
I have another question. The team on the screen that you have of my team, should I try to get Monty for Pacheco that I just got today? I'm looking at the guy's team. He has Jacobs and Stevenson and Monty, Kamara, but Kamara suspended. So he has Jacobs, Stevenson, Monty. I was going to offer him Montgomery.
What's the offer? Monty and who? So
so the Pacheco trade that I got today, basically I got Pacheco, traded away Khalil Herbert, but I'm looking at the team to try to get Monty away from him and give him Pacheco, which is the team on the screen. On his team, his running backs are Josh Jacobs and Stevenson. Should I try? You think he'll accept Pacheco for Monty, or should I add?
I'd rather have Pacheco. I'd rather have Pacheco than Monty. I don't want Monty
Really?
over. Of course, bro. Scotty, do I look like? Are you watching my show? Do I look like a moron? I mean, you haven't been watching my show. You haven't been. And Scotty, this is Scotty. I'm not.
2 jobs.
Scotty, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. I'm just telling you. I can tell when somebody hasn't attended my class and they come up to the teacher and they ask a question we've covered in the lectures. You're here taking the final exam and you're asking questions that are all over everywhere on the show. Let me show you a little list here. Okay, ready? I don't know if you can see the screen. If not, I'll describe it to you. Here we go. I'm pushing the button.
On my television, yes.
Dropping loads in outer space.
On the Moonmen list. On the Moonmen list, and it's been here for the beginning or middle of the offseason. Pacheco and Cuffs. That means McKinnon right now. Prince is in play if you have an extremely deep league to grab all the Cuffs. But Pacheco and McKinnon are Moonmen extraordinaires. Monty's nowhere to be found. It's not that I don't like Monty, but he's not a Moonman, so there's no way in hell I'm going to tell you to make that trade.
I'm just kind of think of it as a volume standpoint.
So am I.
You think Pacheco's going to get 200?
No, Scotty. I have him on my Moonman list because I think he's going to be forgotten. I love you, pal. I'm not mad at you. I'm trying to just hit you with my passion so you understand my stance good enough. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when they knight you. When you're a knight, they in the movies at least, they knight you with the sword and they slap you across the face. They go, that's so you remember your oath. Like, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm trying to slap you across the face a little bit and just say, remember what I'm saying here. Pacheco and McKinnon are winning leagues if you get them in the right territory, especially when you cuff McKinnon deep and late into the draft. And I imagine you drafted Pacheco, but you didn't get McKinnon, or do you have McKinnon? Did you not listen? Did you not show up for that? You didn't show up for that class, did you?
Hold on 1 minute. I do have Pacheco on this team on the board, but my buddy is also in the same league, and he has McKinnon on his team. So, booyah.
Okay. Well, don't trade Pacheco. Don't trade him.
But yeah,
do what you want though. Do what you want. All right, hey Scotty, I appreciate your call, pal. You got any other?
Prayers up to Maui, guys.
Yeah, you got any other questions?
Right now.
You got any other questions?
No, I'm saying prayers to Maui, guys. They're really hurting. Lahaina's, hurting a lot.
You're far away from that though.
I'm on Oahu, brother. Maui's a total different island.
I know, but look, we're not all. I mean, I've been to Hawaii like 3 or 4 times, but even someone that's been like, we don't understand everything about it. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure we still wonder if the fires are spreading over. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. How far apart are the islands?
They're spread apart from a good body of water, but
like how many miles are between?
Maybe, I'm not sure. Maybe 150 to 100. I'm not really sure.
Far? Man. That far, really?
I don't know, man.
You live there. You live there. Let's see here. Hold on. How many
Google it.
miles away are Oahu?
Maui.
116 miles. You're right, bro. Look at that. Gustavo, have more confidence. Have more confidence when you come with the fire, bro. Don't just back down like that. You had it. That's a lot of miles, bro. I did not. That's like from Phoenix to halfway to Tucson, or no, maybe that is Phoenix to Tucson. I think it's like 120. That's crazy. That's a big distance.
Yeah, it is. It's a total different island, and
that's crazy.
Lahaina is.
A lot of people don't get that. They don't go to Hawaii, so they don't really, they don't really notice that. That's a very, very big distance between the two. I love Hawaii. I go to Waikiki when I go. It's been a very long time since I went. I've gone 4 or 5 times. I love Waikiki, that area. the Moke Islands, as we've talked about before. Protect the Moke Islands at all costs.
So whoever's viewing this video right now, basically, last weekend, basically, we had a Category 4 hurricane that hit south of the islands. It didn't hit the islands directly, but caused, on Maui about 60 to 80 mile per hour winds, which knocked down power lines, which then sparked a fire that spread different parts of Maui, but mostly Lahaina. Lahaina is like the number one tourist little town in Maui. A very beautiful little place. Me and my wife, back in 2020, spent a week on Maui. We walked around Lahaina, which got burnt to the ground for the whole day. It was a beautiful little town, and it was just it's very devastating. There's a lot of humanitarian, recovery right now, and a lot of locals pitching in to ship out. A lot of things that people need. A lot of companies are shipping out containers, and there's a lot of
that's crazy, man.
Positive. It's very sad. I'm sure some people on this channel right now that are viewing have seen lots of videos on Instagram of there's frontline personal footage of people jumping into the ocean that can barely escape their house, escape their cars.
You're lucky you're on the right side of that. That's unfortunate, man. Well, prayers up, and Scotty, appreciate you calling in, and good luck with your team. Don't trade Pacheco. Don't mind the trade, and prayers up to all those that are affected. And tell Gustavo to call in once in a while. And you guys got to call in together like you used to. That was gold.
We will try. I hear you about trying to follow your shows. I'm trying. I work 2 jobs. I stay pretty busy. Actually, my second job, just to cut this short so I can let you go, I got a little second job in Waikiki cleaning the rental cars that all the tourists drive. It's a pretty cool, chill job, and I actually got Gustavo a job part-time in the evening. They're working with me. So,
a good friend.
Oh, yeah, good friend of mine. So we'll try to chime in one of these evenings when we're working together, when you're going, and we'll try to call in for you.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Waiting for you to come out here to Waikiki, man.
I can't wait. I will definitely be looking you up. We'll figure it out. All right, later, Sorry, Scotty. I always mix you guys
All right,
up.
man. You have a good night. Bye.
Later. All right, Scotty. It does crack me up when someone, and it's not his fault. I mean, he's working 2 jobs. I know everybody can't watch every waking hour, but it's pretty apparent. There's a couple things that get beat like a dead horse on this channel, one of which is the Moon Men list.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
Hey, Smitty, would you trade Swift or Pacheco for a player not on your Moon Men list?
Space Monsters.
It just makes me laugh. That's all. It's not like he's doing anything wrong. I love Scotty Doo. But the answer is no. The answer is no. What do you want me to say? Or when someone, I get asked this question more than anything is, would you take Bijan number 3? It's like, come on. Come on. At this point, really? Are we still there? Are we still there?
Hi, my name is Bijan Robinson. I like long walks on the beach. And, well, I also like scoring.
If you guys don't know how much I like Bijan, at this point, if you don't know how much I like Bijan, then you aren't watching the show very, very frequently. All right, so my team so far, we're going to go into a mock draft. I'll continue to draft and go back and forth, but Fields, Tony Pollard, ETN, Javonte, McKinnon, Bigsby, Garrett Wilson, JSN, Sky Moore, Tony. I really like what I did with the wide receiver combo there. I feel like I'm going to be taken care of in a massive way. I got 3 cheap players that I think that fits very well with this build. And a Tony Sky Moore wide receiver 3 will be phenomenal for me, I think, in this position. So really like the squad here. Feel like it went well. I'm gonna shift on over to the mock draft. I'm gonna drop the mock draft link right now in the chat. Let's do it live. Here's the link. T-minus 5 seconds. I'm dropping it. 5, 4. Wow. We got a lot of thunder outside. It's raining hard. Mock draft link. Let's see this bad boy fill up in a matter of seconds. I'm going to take that 12 pick, which, can be good, can be bad. Tough to say. We'll see this fill up pretty quickly here. Jump into the mock draft. Link has been dropped in the live chat. Get breaced. You bet your bottom dollar we're getting breaced this year, baby. Get breaced.
Get breached.
Okay, mock draft is almost full. These usually fill quicker than this, but here we go. Almost full, almost full. 2 spots left. 2 spots left. 1 spot left. And we will begin right now. Mock draft is full. Okay, start mock draft. Jimmy's on the clock. JJ. Let's go back here. See if I'm almost on the clock here. I could use pretty good at RB. Pretty good at RB. I'll probably go. It's a tough call here. It's a tough call. Mock draft is still going. It looks like it went JJ, Chase, McCaffrey, Kelsey, Tyreek Hill, Bijan, Eckler, and looks like that pick is almost going to be taken. Let's see. All right, I'm on the clock. It feels very early to do this, but I don't want to get sniped by Speedy because that's all he does. I'm going to snipe him, and I'm taking Tank Dell in 11. It's really early, but I need the wide receiver really badly. I can't afford to miss on this because I've gone light wide receiver shopping by design by beefing up these RBs. Pollard, ETN, Javonte, McKinnon, Tank Bigsby, Garrett Wilson, JSN, both KC wide receivers, and then Tank Dell. I think I'm really, really squared away nicely. So that was, I think, a good move. I feel good about it. The rain is pouring down. I can hear it. Rain is crazy right now. Mock draft. I'm on the clock. 18 seconds. Such bad data. It's hard to see. St. Brown. We'll take St. Brown. And Tony Pollard. So we'll do a similar build. I went Garrett Wilson and Tony Pollard in this draft here. All right, on the clock. Let's go over to the quarterback situation. Let's go Jordan Love so he doesn't get taken. My squad so far in the best ball Underdog Fantasy Puppy 3 is Justin Fields, Jordan Love, Tony Pollard, ETN, Javonte, Jerick McKinnon, Tank Bigsby, Garrett Wilson, JSN, Sky Moore, Tony, Kadarius Toney, and Tank Dell. So feeling pretty good about that squad. I like it a lot. Dynasty PPR, my running backs include Bijan. This is Mark. Bijan, Brees, Najee, Javonte, Ramondre, Khalil. Who would you look to trade for multiple for a wide receiver one? I mean, the problem is no one's got. I wouldn't trade Bijan. Brees, I wouldn't trade Brees on the low. I wouldn't. I mean, maybe you trade Najee because he's got the most value, but I don't necessarily want you to trade him. I want to trade Ramondre, but can you buy a like doubted wide receiver? Can you trade Ramondre for Olave or a guy like that? I don't know. Cole says, "Hey Smitty, with no running backs going into the 5th and 6th round turn, which 2 running backs would you take? Pacheco, Javonte, Brees, Swift." With no running backs, God, I mean, it's still very hard. It'd be hard to pass on Javonte there, to be honest, because he's going to play right away. And I think Brees will, but we don't know. Maybe, let's just say worst case scenario, he doesn't play much, if at all, in week 1. He will be unlocked. Like, at the end of the day, I want Brees for you. But Swift and Javonte and Pacheco are I'm not saying to take Pacheco over Brees Hall. I'm just saying those guys. Pacheco will be there at your next pick. I wouldn't not take him. Swift could fall. Javonte may not. I think it's between Brees and Javonte, and you got to let the ADP suggested rank guide you into not reaching too fast. After Pollard in the mock draft, this is the mock draft. So the mock draft went as follows: J.J. Chase, McCaffrey, Travis Kelce. This is on Sleeper. This is a mock draft, not the best ball. Tyreek, Bijan, Eckler, Barkley, Kupp, Diggs, Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tony Pollard at the turn for me. So Amon and Tony. Lamb, Chubb, A.J. Brown, Olave, Derrick Henry, Patrick Mahomes, Devontae Adams, Jonathan Taylor, which I think is too high for me, but I get it. McCaffrey and Hurts, and now CU is on the clock here, and Jimmy with the back-to-back. So we'll circle back around here. This draft has gone pretty well. Up in 5 picks. Go back to the mock draft. It went Breece Hall. That's too early, bro. What are you doing? What are you doing? Haven't you been watching? Not only are you taking Breece Hall, see you call into the phone line. You got to explain yourself on this one. Like, not only are you going to get him at 3.2, 3.2 is too early considering what we just talked about. It doesn't matter if you believe it'll be okay at the end of the day. His value has changed. You just wasted a 2.11 pick when you could have got Bijan in a worst-case scenario at 4.11. Maybe not in our community, but I think you just let that go. You know, let it lie. I don't know. You got to call in, man. You got to call in and explain yourself on that one. And I don't want to just hear well, I think he'll be fine. You can't overpay when the market's telling you, hey, this is the price. That's just way too high. But I'd love to hear you call in and explain it. I'll be easy on you. I just want to talk you through it because you are not taking advantage of the ADP at all. At all, my guy. I'm a little bit in trouble at the tight end position. Dulcich is interesting, but I don't trust Wilson, so I'm not going to go Dulcich. I'm just not. I think I'll go Jawan Johnson, who looked pretty impressive. I think that's a really good play here. And I think that's somebody that I feel safe with. You know, I feel like it's a safe move. Connor with the $5 hauler. 12-team 0.5 single keeper league. Keep London in the 9th round, Ramondre in the 8th round, or Saquon in the 2nd. Probably, I mean, Ramondre is smartest, but it's got some concerns, but it still feels like it's the best move. All right, let me see if there's another tight end I can grab. I mean, Dulcich wouldn't be bad here. I'll go Dulcich and Jawan Johnson. I think that's pretty decent considering how long I waited. So Jawan Johnson and Dulcich, that's pretty good. Wide receiver room's looking pretty crafty. You know, the Tony and Sky Moore cuff. The JSN and Garrett Wilson. Pollard, ETN, Javonte, McKinnon, and then Fields. Oh, God, I think I might be timing out on the. Oh, no. Okay, good. So the mock draft, it went Mark Andrews, Gibbs, T. Higgins, Waddle, Jacobs, Ridley, Devontae Smith, Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, DK Metcalf, and now I'm almost on the clock. I'm on deck. It looks like Stevenson made it all the way back to this 3.12, so I'll have a dilemma on my hands potentially if I'm going to go Stevenson. I don't think I will, but I just don't trust him. Riviera said full PPR wide receiver from the Bucks and Steelers. Do you like? I like Evans more than I like Godwin. I like Pickens more than I like any of them. And so I'd rank them Pickens and Evans probably in that order. This is a tough call here. Let's go Debo and let's go Debo and Fields. I like that. 11 picks away in that draft, so I'm going to switch back over to the mock draft. I like that. That's good. Okay, I think we might have a $20 hauler that just popped into screen here. I'm not sure. It looks like it did. It looks like it did. Thank you for the super chats, by the way. I can't thank you guys enough for dropping these supers, keeping the show going, the lights on. We're almost in full go mode. I can feel the show picking up. The numbers are always in the 2 to 3 to 4s, and it's gonna get crazy. I love what I do so much. I can't emphasize enough how much I enjoy what I do and being here for you guys, and you guys being here for me. You're here for me as much as I'm here for you. I just want you to know that. Everybody says thank you for all you do. Thank you guys, because without you, I don't have anything. And this is my job. This is my job, and this is the best job you could have. Coming in and talking football, and I can feel the energy just ramping up. I can feel how excited everybody is, and there's nothing better. I actually dread when the season starts, in a way. 80% of what I love about what I do is before the season begins, because this is when there's so many unknowns. Nobody knows anything. Even if you're going to be proven right on 80% of what you're going to do, that'll have its its good moments too, obviously. But there's nothing like the unknown and exploring everything together and just talking about this and talking about that. We got a $5 hauler here I don't understand why. I saw a $20 super chat come through, and yet it's not coming up on the screen. It's weird. I'm sorry. Maybe it was the old one, and my thing is behind. $5 hauler right here from Heat. He says, Smitty, I'm in a 1.12 in a full PPR, and I'm praying for Bijan, Garrett Wilson, or Barkley Wilson. Thoughts? I like Amon-Ra there, too, as well. I like Tony Pollard there as well. You'll be fine. I have Mahomes as the keeper in the 5th. What strategy should I use? I wouldn't hesitate on Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson in that order. And then, hold on, let me make this pick real quick. I really like Curtis Samuel this year. He's one of my most owned players, like in the top 12 probably, just because I feel like they design plays for him and he's just going to get a secured amount of volume. So to have him just as a bench wide receiver, I think makes a lot of sense. Looks like the mock draft is still slow moving. I've got a lot of time before it hits back. And I'm going to have a back-to-back pick here soon, so I'm going to go ahead and get ready for that. Best player available. Don't worry about position. You got Mahomes. That's great. These next two picks, it's not bad to have balance, to be honest. If you can come away with St. Brown or Garrett Wilson with go Bijan. Go Bijan, St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Tony Pollard. And even if you ended up with Bijan and Tony Pollard, I'd be fine with that if you felt like you're going to get good wide receivers. If it's the best player available approach, then do it live, bro. Do it live, and appreciate your super chat. Thank you for keeping the lights on. You rock, my man. You're absolutely a monster. I don't want this guy to get snagged later, and I don't really have a bunch of favorite players right here, so I'm just going to take my guy. We're in round 16, 17, 18. There's 3 rounds left. Don't start worrying about ADP in round 16. Just take the guy you want. Don't even hesitate to reach. There's no reaching in round 16 anymore. It's ridiculous to even insinuate you should wait on a guy and take somebody you don't like when you're sitting around 16. Now, round 10 or 9, that's different. But round 16 is absolute fair game to grab anybody, any moment, anywhere, and don't even hesitate. Smitty, you snipe me again, says Big O. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. Scott is chatting it up. Phone lines are open. Dial in. Phone lines are brought to you by these are our super chatters, our super chat awards and the super chats and what they get you. So $100 name on the door, bold prediction $50. I toss your bold prediction on the board, and the best prediction we all vote on who has the best prediction. $20 hauler gets the marker board treatment. Biggest super chatter all time is Ron Navy. And biggest super chatter in the 2023 season is Garrett with the $600 wad. And he owns his own emoji until somebody knocks him off on the year. Somebody drops a $601 super chat. They get to have the emoji that they want. If they want their avatar, I'll put their avatar, their YouTube logo, their initials, whatever, as long as it's clean and everything. I'll drop that in the see, am I almost up? I'm almost up in the mock. I'll drop that up in the as an emoji. I'll draw it up and put it in the system in your own emoji, your photo if you want. If you drop a $601 super chat, Garrett loses his emoji, and my YouTube exclusive members, you will get a new emoji, and it'll be whatever the winner is. And so appreciate you. The phone lines will be open in 1 second, or I'm going to hit the phone line number here in a second. Mock draft. I have one RB. I'm going to go Javonte here. What round are we in? 6? I got Amon-Ra, Debo, Tony Pollard, Javonte. Kyle Pitts is there. We'll go Pickens here. It's a little early. I'm timing out. So Pickens. Scotty Dew's calling in. I got another super chat from Scotty Dew as well. $5 hauler.
Gustavo's calling in right now.
I got Gustavo and Scotty Dew on the line. This is the first time we've had the two boys, the Hawaii boys, on the phone line at the same time since they used to work.
Pull up my super chat right now.
Okay, Scotty, hold on. Calm down. I got you. Fire team, 10-team PPR, Rodgers, Barkley, Javonte St. Brown, Olave, Devontae Smith, Everett, Hopkins, Cooks, Monty, Tank Bigsby, AR-15. Gustavo has Garrett Wilson. Trade who? Okay, so Gustavo's on the phone. Gustavo, first of all, how are you doing? Are you safe? You're on the same island as Scotty, right?
Yes. What's up, Smitty? How are you?
It's good to hear your voice, pal. These are my two Hawaii subscribers that used to call in together, and now they work different jobs, and life's taking them apart. But hey,
we work car rental.
Oh yeah, you're doing the car rental thing together too. Gustavo, I have a trivia question for you, and Scotty, don't open your mouth at all. This is for Gustavo. How many miles apart is Oahu and the other island?
Can you repeat the question again?
How many miles apart are the two islands in Hawaii, Oahu and Maui?
5, 4.
I know this. Hold on.
I thought he said
100 miles apart. 100 miles apart.
It's like 100. Yeah, that's close. It's like 100 and let me see, 116.
60.
116. Yeah.
Yeah, you know why I know this, Smitty? Because
you had to swim it one time?
Southwest doesn't solve alcohol in 200 miles. So they only will serve you alcohol going to the Big Island.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, that was interesting. I didn't know because I asked him, is he near the fires? He's like, I'm on the other island. I'm like, well, I mean, you know, to somebody that doesn't live in Hawaii, even though I've been there, it doesn't really, like, we don't know what the situation is over on Hawaii. Hawaii
the situation's pretty hectic. But
Maui.
Hopefully it gets solved pretty soon for the people in Maui, man. Pretty sad.
It is sad. Okay, so you guys are working on a trade here, right? You're working on a trade. You know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to go Malik Cunningham as my last pick just to throw in something that nobody's going to really have. And I think that could be something that can make this team look good. Okay, let me just show my team real quick, Gustavo and Scotty. Let me come up with the trade for you guys. Fields, Jordan Love, Malik Cunningham. Tony Pollard, Travis Etienne, Javonte, Jerick McKinnon, Tank Bigsby, Deuce Vaughn. Garrett Wilson, JSN, Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney. So I got the KC guys. Tank Dell, Curtis Samuel, Jalen Hyatt, Juwan Johnson, and Greg Dulcich. Pretty excited about that team. My mock draft team was Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tony Pollard, Deebo Samuel, Justin Fields, Javonte Williams, and George Pickens. So feeling pretty good about that squad. And then I apologize. Wait 1 second, boys. Go to sleep, Smitty. You do enough for us. James, you let me decide when to sleep. I appreciate you, though. This one's a $50 hauler from Heat, dropping fire.
Alert. Super chat alert.
$20 Gronk smash on screen. Smitty, Amon-Ra, and Pollard are also taken as keepers. What should I be looking for after getting Bijan and Garrett Wilson or Barkley with the first 2 picks? Love your show, man. Should I be looking for Amari and Judy at the 3-4 turn? Heat, I'm sorry, without the information of who's available, it's going to be hard for me to just throw names out because there's keepers involved. You just said Tony Pollard. But I don't like Judy. I mean, Judy and Amari are not my favorite players that we're talking about at that point, I don't think. I have to think that, like, DJ Moore's there. I have to think that Christian Watson's there. I have to think that Kenneth Walker's there, or even players like quarterbacks or whatever. So if you go Bijan, Garrett Wilson, or Barkley, and then you're all of a sudden dropping to Amari Cooper. I know you said I think you traded away a pick, right? I don't know. There's got to be better. Can you give me a list of players? Give me a laundry list of players, and I'll rank them. But it's very hard for me to blindly tell you what players to go get. So I'll look for your question. You don't necessarily have to super chat it because you just dropped a $50 holler. But if you drop the list, I can get it taken care of. All right, Gustavo, I'm going to put this over here so I remember to check in with you, but I do need a list of players. Then I'm going to give you a detailed breakdown.
We need a whiteboard treatment.
Yeah, whiteboard. So as for you guys, I can do whiteboard treatment for you guys as well. Whiteboard treatment here. This is a trade between you two. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So the trade is as follows, or the request here. And Racing Boy dropped a $5 holler. I'm sorry, Racing Boy, I didn't see this. Do you try to use Madison and Amari or Keenan Allen to try and get Garrett Wilson? Absolutely. You still have Pollard, CMC, Brian Robinson. 100%. I would use Madison and Amari to get Walker. I'd use Madison and Amari to get Walker. Bro, I'd go after Breece Hall. This is ridiculous how the value you can get Breece Hall right now. But absolutely, I would 100% use those 2 players, especially those 2 players, to go get another player like that. Racing Boy's a great question. All right, gentlemen. So for your trade, Garrett Wilson is Gustavo's guy. Okay. So I'm trying to do a fair trade here, I guess. No,
let's write down the teams, Smitty. Let's write them down.
Okay, give me Gustavo's team. Don't give me the whole team. Just give me the starters.
The good players.
Yeah.
The good players.
Okay, go.
Okay, I have Burrow, Travis Etienne, Walker, Jefferson, Waddle.
Okay, hold on.
Walker,
JJ, Waddle. Okay.
Nanjuko, and Garrett Wilson as my flex.
Woo! Okay, G. Will. All right, that's Gustavo's team. Scotty, what is Scotty's team?
Okay, my quarterback is Aaron Rodgers. It's on the board. It's on the super chat.
Okay, this one. A-Rod, Barkley, Javonte, Barkley. I should have wrote an order. It's going to bother me now, but it's all right. Barkley, St. Brown, Olave, D. Smith. St. Brown, Olave, D. Smith. And let me rewrite this because it's going to drive me crazy. Barkley, Barks, and Javonte. And is there another player that I need to...
Gustavo also has Sky Moore and McKinnon. I don't know if that's relevant.
Okay. So Sky, McKinnon. Okay, so Garrett Wilson. In order to move Garrett Wilson, boys, you can't upgrade him at quarterback. You could upgrade him at running back if you view Barkley as a advantageous move, and I think most people would. I think a lot of us love Etienne, but Barkley's getting drafted higher. Is this a keeper or redraft?
Redraft? No. I don't have Sky Moore. McKinnon. Gustavo has that,
okay.
By the way. It's
this
like
is
15
redraft?
seconds behind on the video.
Okay, so redraft. Okay. So I think most people like Barkley. So there's an upgradable piece here to use for this Garrett Wilson piece if we wanted to. Javonte, Walker. I think most people would probably rather have Walker, but it's close. St. Brown, JJ, clearly this is an advantage. You can't upgrade there. Waddle and Olave are probably equals to a lot of people, even though Waddle does go higher, so we're going to put it equal there. Devontae Smith is a nice piece to potentially look at. So, okay, you could go ETN and Garrett Wilson for Barkley and D. Smith.
I'm not a big fan of ETN. I got a Tank on the bench.
Well, I mean, in some ways, that's great.
Well,
I mean,
he wants to give me the
that's
trade,
a good trade.
Committee that he sent me this trade, which was, I don't know, where is it now?
I took it off, but I offered. I was gonna give him I wanted to give him Smith, and then whoever else would be equal.
For Garrett Wilson?
But
Smith?
you're also not writing down. I also have Hopkins, Cooks, and Monty, man.
Oh yeah, Hopkins. Who has Hopkins, Cook, and Monty? That's
me, Scotty.
Hopkins,
Cooks, and Monty.
Dalvin Cook or
Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks. Okay, just making sure. A lot of people put an S on the end of Dalvin, and I just got to make sure. I mean, you're a little testy today, Scotty. A little testy.
Yeah, he's trying to pull the trade of the century.
I've noticed you get testy with me once in a while. Just a little short. But it's okay. Scotty, you are who you are. Don't change for anybody. I like you just the way you are. Okay, so we've got Monty. I mean, bro, you could look, I'd be lying if I said I would trade Devontae Smith and Monty for Garrett Wilson. But maybe some people would do that. I could understand why they'd want to, I suppose, if they love Monty. But that's Hopkins and Devontae Smith for Garrett Wilson is tempting. I think
he does need another good running back. He does need another. Good,
then Javonte and Hopkins for Garrett Wilson, which is what I would try to do if I was Scotty. I don't know that if I would do that if I was Gustavo, just to play devil's advocate here and tell you guys how my brain works. I would sit here and look at this team and go, I'm not using Hopkins. Okay, let me give up Javonte and Hopkins, and I replace my starter with and then you could put Monty, I guess, in your running back slot. Although, yeah, I mean that's the only thing you could potentially do. If anybody in the chat has
if I give him Smith and Devonta Smith and Monty, that'll definitely give him two starters. In my opinion, he could use Monty more than I can because I have more depth at the running back position.
Now, Gustavo, this is what I would, if I was you, this is what I would say. I would say something like, I need more.
I need more, my friend. No, I'm going to tell you something. He's been I'm going to tell you something, Smitty. I don't believe trading at this point, but he's my boy, so I'm down to do it. But if it's a fair trade, I don't believe anything's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Gustavo is always there. Gustavo would give the shirt off his back as long as he didn't need the shirt for like a job interview or something. That's what he's saying. Okay.
Smitty, tell him the potential of Monty and what he can do this year with Gibbs right next to him.
I mean, there's potential for him to have 1,200 yards, 7-8 touchdowns. Gibbs is unrelated, but I'm not like the biggest Monty fan, though. You know, like I like Monty. I do. I think he's in a good spot. I think he's a really decent, running back to have. I think he is. But the time that I go at Monty is not because I don't like Monty. It's because Monty doesn't have to do with Gibbs. But I would, because they just play different roles. They're going to both be on the field. But I mean, Gibbs is the better player by a mile. In my opinion, but like you could afford to do a Javonte, you could do a Javonte and Hopkins, to be honest. And let's ask the chat, if you were Gustavo, I don't even know that I would do this. I'm just saying, if you were Gustavo, would you take Hopkins and Javonte for Garrett Wilson? Would you trade away Garrett Wilson as Gustavo for Hopkins and Javonte? And Scotty, you may not want to do that because you want to keep Javonte, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. And maybe if you like Monty enough, you could shove him into your lineup. Because that's what I would tell you if I was Gustavo. I'd say, if you like Monty so much, you're trying to sell Monty to me, then put him in your own lineup.
Well, I just traded away Connor, waiting for the trade to go through, but I just traded away Connor to get Javonte. So I'm not going to just trade Javonte. I literally just got Javonte.
Well, I mean,
excuse me.
bro,
Go ahead.
You either want Garrett Wilson. Look, you either want Garrett Wilson or you don't. Like that.
Well, I don't need him.
Well, apparently,
don't trade him.
Apparently, Gustavo thinks you do want him that badly. Because Gustavo's telling me you've been after him all week on it.
I would like to stack with A-Rod. That would be great.
Yeah, but you gotta also be fair, bro. I'll take the Hopkins and the Javonte for Garrett.
Well, hold on. I didn't say to do it. Hold on. I didn't say to do it yet, Gustavo. The whole chat's saying don't do it. I'm just telling.
Yeah, good chat. Yeah, I like the chat guys.
Well, you shouldn't like the chat guys, Scotty, because they don't want to approve the trade. They don't. They would rather him not do the trade. They don't think Javonte and Hopkins is enough.
This guy, I think this is a Justin Jefferson guy.
Yeah, then don't trade him, Gustavo. Now, Scotty, I know it's not what you wanted to hear, but you did ask for my honest opinion here, and what I cooked up was the most fair offer I could think of, which is Javonte and Hopkins.
Move the camera a little down on the screen on the board.
No, because
it's set.
It's set.
Okay, never mind.
But Scotty,
So
listen to me here real quick. Okay, the chat is saying no. The chat is saying keep freaking Garrett Wilson. Okay? But here's the other question I have. Do you like him enough to say, "Hey Gustavo, I'll give you Olave and Monty for Garrett Wilson"? Like I'm not saying I even approve that. I'm just asking, where's your wiggle room, Scotty? Because you can't just narrow it down to two players and be like, you got to take some variation of Monty and Devontae Smith or something.
I mean, Devonta Smith and Olave are pretty equal. I just like Olave slight more than Devonta.
So would you give up Olave and Monty? Would you give up Olave and Hopkins? I'm just trying to get a feel for what you give up.
It depends on Gustavo. If he would like Monty, Gustavo, do you like Devonta Smith?
Well, I think so. This is my honest opinion. I think Devonta Smith won't get the heavy load like Wilson. That's my feeling. I think Wilson will be Rodgers' number one target. That's where I'm putting it at.
Okay,
I think this guy has more value.
Hey, Shamrock is saying Devontae Smith and Hopkins for Garrett Wilson.
Okay, but if I look at, here's the thing: I'm also not only trying to give him Smith, but I would like to give him Monty. And the reason why I would like to give him Monty because
you don't want him
behind Walker and ETN, he doesn't have much. All he has is McKinnon.
Okay, but don't worry about Gustavo. Don't worry. Here's where you got to be careful, Scotty, because when you're trying to tell him what he needs, a lot of people take that as a disrespectful, like, you don't think I know what I'm doing. You're trying to tell me what I need for my team. You let him. I
know he doesn't need doing.
Okay, but you need to let you mentor this guy. Like, he doesn't, like Gustavo doesn't have a say. Poor Gustavo here. You worry. You let.
We both made it to the championship.
You let Gustavo worry about Gustavo. What I'm asking you is, would you give up Devontae Smith, who is your starter, to upgrade him into Garrett Wilson by giving up a bench player in Hopkins for you? Would you give up Devontae Smith and Hopkins straight up for Garrett Wilson?
If I was in this position...
No, stop talking for him. You're not Gustavo. You're trying to control Gustavo. Let Gustavo be his own man. Okay, Scotty, would you trade Hopkins and Devontae Smith to Gustavo if he wanted it for Garrett Wilson? Stop trying to give him Monty.
Devonta Smith and Hopkins.
Marriage therapy. Yeah, I should be charging $99 an hour for this session. You did pay $10, by the way. That's not too bad.
I paid $15.
You're welcome. $15. Hey, $15 for 15 minutes. You're almost out of time.
Well, I got something to tell you, Smitty. I got something to tell you. So this year, I did draft a top 10 quarterback, which is Burrow, and I have him in several leagues. But I also have the rookies, which is Anthony Richardson and Stroud and C.J. Stroud. I think those are the top two that I like. Personally, I like Bryce Young, but I'm not too convinced with him. But I'm more convinced with Anthony Richardson.
What are we talking about, Gustavo?
I have him. Well, I'll give him to you. You want Anthony Richardson?
Because in the middle, I had him and I dropped him and I got
what does that
Stroud.
have to do with the trade, Gustavo? What are you talking about?
Wait,
him up.
I'm going to tell you the trade. I'm going to tell you the trade because I eventually want to move Burrow to upgrade something better.
He's worried. He's a scared shot.
I mean, that's okay if you like Anthony Richardson enough. Is that who you got? You said Anthony Richardson?
No, I have him because he dropped him. I picked him up this morning.
You shouldn't have dropped him. Look at it, Scotty. Scotty, you look like you're looking out for him, but you're just laughing at him at the same time.
No, I'm looking out because I grabbed him. He said grab him. I grabbed him.
Now you hear this guy? Now Scotty's looking out for him because he picked him up. Are you going to hold Anthony Richardson for him? Or are you going to give him back?
I don't know. You want to make a trade?
No, so okay.
No, I'm not
Scotty, listen to yourself real quick. I'm
just joking, man.
I know, but I'm just trying to. You got to let Gustavo fly and open his own wings, okay? Gustavo, can you answer this? Can you answer this question, please? Do you like Hopkins and Devontae Smith for your Garrett Wilson?
I think that's a fair trade because if Hopkins gets the numbers that he's gonna get, that'll be a fair trade because that upgrade.
Who does he replace? Can you let me know who he replaces in your lineup? Who would it be? Who is he gonna start in place of?
I will put him in my flex position. I will put Hopkins in my flex position.
Okay, so let me get a poll going here, okay? And we'll say which side Hopkins.
Of course they're going to say, I'll take the two receivers.
No, not necessarily. Gee, Willie, they know the stakes. We've kind of explained it. So we're going to have everybody vote on this one right now. Let me create this poll. And let me copy the link real quickly. And let me put it in the chat real quickly. Here's the link, guys. If you want to vote on this trade, tell me what side you want. We're going to watch the chat live vote and see the totals. And then are you guys willing to allow this trade to go through based on what the chat votes?
I'm down. Are you down, Scott?
Are you both okay letting the chat decide if this trade goes through?
I'm down. Think about it.
Okay. You got to think about it. Come on, bro. You got a live audience here. So if the chat says to do Hopkins Smith, the trade goes through. You guys agree or no?
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wilson and Waddle. There you go.
So if the chat agrees that Gustavo is not getting ripped off and they like his side better, then Scotty can get this Garrett Wilson deal done. Now, Scotty, let me just preface that you're getting an amazing trade because you're using a bench player. Okay, so just because the vote wins doesn't mean you lost on this. It just means that Gustavo hold on a second. It just means Gustavo isn't getting ripped off and he's getting what he needs. So here's the vote. Let me see. Let me put this on top here. The live poll. 13 votes so far for Garrett Wilson. So far the trade's not going through. 10 votes for Hopkins and D. Smith. 14-10. This is a live poll. You guys can find that.
I don't see it. Where's the poll at?
It's in the YouTube chat. I dropped it in there.
I'm on it. I don't see it.
Here, let me drop it again. Here it is.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. I just dropped it again. 15-10. 25 votes. It's live. This is absolutely live.
Someone said, no, don't do that.
We got 17-13. Let's say we call it at 50 votes. Okay, once it hits 50 votes, it's whatever the answer is. That's it. Okay, guys, you got 33 votes. That means you got about another little under 20 votes to go. 15 votes to go. 37. It's 19-19. It's a tie. The first one to 50. If Garrett Wilson wins, it's no trade. If Hopkins and Devontae Smith win, then Gustavo has two new players, Hopkins and Devontae Smith, and he's trading away Garrett Wilson. And this will be his flex. Hopkins will be his flex. So this could be a good move for both parties. I think your boy Smitty orchestrated a pretty fair trade with the assistance of other people in the chat that dropped their suggestions, and we came to a conclusion that this was the most fair trade right here. Shamrock even suggested this one, a combination of what we were talking about. Devontae Smith and Hopkins for Garrett Wilson. Gustavo's team is on the left. Scotty's is on the right. Let's go to the poll and see where it's at. 21 votes to 21 votes. We need 8 more votes, and whatever is tied, 21-21. Whichever one hits 50 wins. If Hopkins and Garrett Wilson hit, Garrett Wilson takes the lead, 22-21. If Garrett Wilson wins the vote, there's no trade. There's no trade. We need 7 more votes, 50 votes, and it's over. So vote which side you think is more valuable. We need 7 more votes in the live chat. We got 200 people in here. We can muster up 7 more votes. Please click the link. Let me drop the link one more time in the live chat. Here's the poll. Hit the link. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Should make it 51 votes, says Jarrett. I mean, it's probably going to hit 50-51. We're going to see it pop in. Garrett Wilson has 23. Hopkins and D. Smith have 21. We are getting closer. 45 votes. 5 more votes. 4 more votes is 23-23. It's a tie. 23-23. 46 votes. 4 more votes, and we have a decision on our hands. Here we go. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win?
Wild.
4 more votes. 4 more votes. 3 more votes. Garrett Wilson has 24. Hopkins has 24. Garrett Wilson won. Garrett Wilson won. 26-24. No trade.
Let's go.
Garrett Wilson stays.
Thank you, Smitty. I love you to the moon, Smitty. I love you to the moon.
Yeah, I love you. I love you both. I love you both. All right, boys. I'm gonna let you go. Appreciate you.
All right. All right, man.
All right. Take it easy, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Smitty, for your time, Smitty.
Yeah. Stay safe, guys. Later. Thank you for the super chats. Well, the vote is concluded. There it is. Interesting. We almost cooked up a trade. Maybe we should make a little trade segment like this. Trade $20 super chats get the vote treatment. I think we should do it live. $50 hauler again from Heat. Heat, appreciate you. Heat dropped this right here. Added some comments. Okay, let me look for it. Heat. Let me look for it. X Heat. Let's get your comments here. It looks like you dropped this one here. You said the 3-4 turn. Keenan Allen, Judy, DJ Moore, Watson. So I like Christian Watson and DJ Moore a lot more than I like Judy and Keenan Allen. London and Watson's really nice. DJ Moore and Watson's very nice. Take a look at these names. I really wanted to push Hero RB. I would go Watson and probably Hopkins if it's a redraft mentality. I would go London and Watson or Watson and DJ Moore if it's more of a – well, DJ Moore is more of a redraft mentality, maybe a touch of Dynasty. But I would probably say from a win-now mentality, Watson and Hopkins is the smartest play. But definitely if there's keeper – insinuations here, then you want to maybe go London. But then again, if it's a limited keeper league, don't worry about the keeper part because you're going to have plenty of options. You don't need Hopkins or London to be a part of that keeper decision because you're only keeping a very small one player or whatever it was. So give me Watson and DJ Moore or Watson and Hopkins, and I don't really care which. You could go Hopkins and DJ Moore if you wanted, but I would go DJ Moore and Watson or Hopkins and Watson. Very, very easy, case closed to me type of situation. And Heat also said usually after the 5th, I still have a Javonte Williams available. Definitely, bro. Pacheco might be there. Who the hell knows where Breece Hall's going, if he's kept or not, I don't know. But definitely a good situation. Garrett Wilson pulled away 28-25. That trade was not going to happen. It wasn't going to happen. It got close. It was really close, but no cigar. Smitty, you sniped me against this Big O. Big O, appreciate you dropping your comment or whatever it was. Appreciate you, Big O. The recovery dropping a $10 hauler. All $10 haulers get moonshots.
To the moon.
Absolute amazingness. Pollard Moonman. Pollard Moonman. Where am I at? What screen am I at? Good Lord. Good Lord. Hey, Smitty, I got the 10th pick in my 10. Let's see. I got the 10th pick in my 10-teamer, and I want to do hero RB, but taking my running back 1 in the 3rd round. I'm going to start with the double-decker. Which running back would you take in at the end of the 3rd round? So double-decker, which if any of you missed earlier in the show, the double-decker is as follows.
The double-decker, pronounced double-decker in academic circles, is drafting both Amon St. Brown, Garrett Wilson back-to-back in rounds 1 and 2, the double-decker.
So if you were to go double-decker and you're talking about your first running back to take, I mean, Walker's interesting, but he falls to 4-5. So in the 3rd round, I don't know. I mean, ETN is a little early there. Ramondre I no longer like in the 3rd round. As far as like other RBs, if I'm looking at, let's say I look at Underdog fantasy rankings, or I'll just look at this draft board of this specific draft, and we'll take a look at it. 845 caller, who's this and where are you calling from?
James. I'm calling from Kingston, New York.
James from New York, bro. Nice to have you on the line. It's like 3:30 a.m. over there. Appreciate you watching the show this late in your morning or evening, however you want to title that there. James from New York, what can I do for you?
Listen, I just wanted to be quick. I just wanted to say to you personally, okay, that I've been following your channel since about 2014. There are a ton of different fantasy outlets out there who focus on metrics and Excel sheets and look at this like it's like some kind of day trading operation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You with your own approach to just actual football content, actual football analysis, actual like representation of what's going to happen on the field. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's needed in this day and age.
I appreciate that.
It's something that's missing. It's something that's missing from all of this new age content. It's something that eventually all of these guys will go back to because it's like the missing ingredient in their little Excel spreadsheets and everything is just like actual fucking football analysis. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
I just want you to know that like what you're doing is great and it's needed, and you fill in a very necessary void in this space. So
thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you.
I appreciate that. And you know what's crazy is like, part of this is an entertainment business. I think that there's so many boring shows out there, and the pandemic created a lot of people that are, and I hate to say this in a way that's going to sound callous, but wannabe analysts out there that don't have any sort of, they decide I'm an analyst, and they just become an analyst. And it used to be something you had to earn, a badge of honor. You had to do some kind of like grunt work at the industry level to really get taken seriously. But and while I think it's awesome that there are a lot of people out there that create content, there's no gatekeeper or anything, and the only thing you have as a viewer to determine whether someone truly is an analyst is to just watch them for a little while and then feel like, okay, do they have any background? Do they have any? And it's cool that people can just create content, but I think from an old dog like myself that did radio for 19 straight years before I even turned on or created a YouTube channel, I felt like I paid my dues being in the industry 2 decades from a written and radio perspective. And the pandemic opened up so many new channels, which is cool. And I know a lot of people wanted to say it's such a positive thing and it's all great, but there are a lot of people out there giving advice that literally have no track record other than they decided to start a channel. And so I guess sometimes I do feel like the industry lacks a little bit of that credibility in some way, and it also lacks some entertainment value too, because there's a lot of people that just get on there and just, like you said, start reading Excel sheets, and there's nothing wrong with data. Like, I hate when people say, and I'm not saying you said this at all. I appreciate everything.
No, bro,
I appreciate everything you said.
Data has
Right.
a real valuable place
Right.
in this space these days.
And I use it, and the problem is, and I'm not saying you said this, but a lot of people do say, Smitty, I know you don't like numbers. Smitty, I know you can't read. Smitty, I know you, don't like projections, or Smitty, you don't like. The problem with me is I go live so much. There's no one that goes. First of all, no one's going to outwork me. I don't care. Somebody can approach me face to face and tell me they're going to outwork me, and I'm going to laugh in their face. No one's going to outwork me, number one. And number two, no one goes live more than me. Like, no one's available to you guys. That's probably part of why you watch, right? Part of the allure of this show is I'm always available to you. Like, and I realize that.
Two things I want to say.
Yeah.
Two things I want to say. One, your work ethic shines through every single stream. Your work ethic and your dedication to your audience and your dedication to releasing the news as it comes out shines through every single time you put something out.
Thank you.
That alone is like your biggest selling point, like the fact that you are simply always there for your audience. And 99% of people in the space can't say that. The second thing I wanted to say, okay, is that fuck that numbers bullshit. Your entire basis off of fucking Bijan having a case as RB1 is based off of numbers.
Right.
It's based off of the Falcons' rushing attempts this year. It's based off of their attempts last year. It's based off of the moves they made this preseason. It's based off of their entire offense being built around Bijan Robinson just doing the best he possibly can. So, like, with takes like that, they're math-based. They're statistic-based. It's just you come across a little, a little, forceful. You know what I mean?
Gut instinct.
And some of these guys who like have never actually sat down and watched a football game, they don't know how to take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the other thing too.
Don't ever change.
No, I won't. I won't. Don't worry. I've been doing this too long to change. But like I was trying to say here, is that the problem I run across with people that think I'm not numbers driven is that when you go as live as long as I do, you can't plan anything out. If you watch another content creator, and my goal is to make you never watch another content creator, because first of all, I'm available so much that I feel like you don't have enough time to absorb X number of hours a day. You're going to choose to come here and say, look, I only have 4 hours of video watching I can do a day before I get a divorce. So I'm going to Smitty. So that's goal number one, right? For me, is to be available to you. But number two, I go live so much. Every single show I do is impromptu. There's not a script. There's not a call sheet. Somebody asked me to come on and do an interview on their show. They're like, here's a call sheet, so you can prepare for the questions. I don't need to prepare for the questions. I don't want to prepare for the questions. And number two, when you don't script things out on a live basis, you can't just roll with all these different, slides of numbers and things. So I am forced to come up with content and impromptu content, but I retrieve constantly and talk about and pull up news and data and numbers. I constantly, all the time, I'm pulling up, just like you said, the Atlanta Falcons numbers. I have pre-made scenes where I talk about, the Falcons and their rushing attempts right here, 559 first in the National Football League, when someone tries to run their mouth about, they don't, the Falcons aren't going to be a good situation. So, like, I have all that, but the problem is when you talk for 6 hours a day, people absorb big portions of that without seeing slides and the spreadsheets and all that, and they think you aren't a numbers-based guy. So that's a lot of why.
And also on that point, people absorb the negative points because they just want to point out something that you fucked up and like get one over on you or something.
Yeah. I feel like that does happen too. I know I come across like, I don't know, like you said, forceful, or this guy thinks he knows it all or something.
Bro,
but like,
that's like, honestly, like in my opinion, like people who like can't grow facial hair. Okay, take offense to shit like that. You know what I mean? I played football for 10 years. I boxed and kickboxed for 15 years. You're a fucking coach. You're a coach.
That's right. High knees.
You know what I mean? You have that fucking mentality.
High knees.
And that's needed in this space.
High knees. All right. Well, hey, I appreciate that. Do you have a question about any players or anything like that? I appreciate all the kind words. James from New York. Anything else?
No, not really, man. I'm pretty much golden. I just wanted to tell you that I hope that like this new age of like stat nerds doesn't discourage you at all. And I wanted to let you know that like the audience you're building and the engagement you provide us is worth more.
Oh yeah.
Than any random stat about running back efficiency in week 13 or some shit that any of these other guys
you know what's great about football?
I just want you to know that like you're needed in this space.
Appreciate that. You know what's great about football is not like baseball. Baseball, you literally are your average, and you don't have to watch a single game, and you can win and dominate fantasy baseball. Because if you're a 6.7 points per game player, you're a 6.7 points per game player. There are so many games that you
there are
can't,
162 games.
Yeah, you can't vary from your average.
All you are is a product of the best you can do, and that's
you are a number.
Football's
you are a
not
number.
The same. You can have some random guy who just catches 2 touchdowns some week. You know what I mean?
If football is a sport where you can do nothing for 8 weeks and you can come in week number 9 and be the best running back in the National Football League. So that's why I love this sport so much. Is you can't use data to determine everything. But what I use data to do are combine numbers, as I always say, is to accent what my gut's telling me. And so that's when it comes into play. I'm a gut first data person that supports the gut instinct. I will never the Excel sheet Eric's you're talking about, they will look at an Excel sheet, and even if they don't feel it in their gut on the player, they'll be like, yeah, those numbers suggest he's going to be good. Well, what about your gut instinct? Does your eye test tell you he's going to be good? Because if your eye test doesn't tell you he's going to be good, what in the hell use is the data? You know? So, yeah, I agree.
Smitty, a lot of these guys don't have an eye test, bro. A lot of these guys don't actually watch or like football, Smitty.
I hear you.
They process the whole thing through data sheets. It's just another puzzle to figure out.
I know, and it's a part of entertainment.
Like
business.
what you do is absolutely necessary in this space.
Thank you, James.
Before this whole thing just turns into a fucking data mash.
Hey, James, your phone number's in the system. Call in anytime. Appreciate you, and go get some sleep.
You're the man. You're the fucking man. I'm glad to be here, bro.
All right. Are you up early? Or are you staying up late? Are you up early or staying up late?
I'm a chef. I work 12 hours a day. My sleep schedule is shit. It doesn't matter.
Okay. All right, James, appreciate you. Later.
Peace to you, man. Thank you.
All right. I got super chats here. Ariel, I'm still here. Ariel, are you still here? 10-man full PPR league. My keepers are St. Brown and Breece Hall. I have the 10th pick. Who should I draft? Ariel, I need a little more information than this. All I can say, I didn't miss your super chat. I just got a lot going on, so I apologize. Ariel, if you're still here, please let me know. I need a little more information than this. Can you give me like a list of guys that you're contemplating here? Because I could go, all over the place on this one. I would say, because I don't know who's being kept. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very vague question. I could tell you 3 guys, and you go, maybe those guys are being kept, and so I can't really help you fully or appropriately. So if you could please hit me back with a list of names, I'm going to keep my eye on the chat and tell me who's out there. Jordan says, Smitty's YouTube channel to the moon. Guys, we're at 20,000.1. We're at 20.1. Almost 20.2K. We almost grew 200 subscribers since we just went to 20K, less than 12 hours ago. So we're growing big. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell your grandma, tell everybody. Let me know on this one. I'm going to come back to you, Ariel. So I'm going to be looking for your list of players. This next question here from Recovery, 10th pick, 10-teamer. I want to go hero RB, taking running back in the 3rd round. I'm going to start with the double-decker. Which running back should you take? Oh, I was going to look at a draft board. If Pollard's there, you smash Pollard, bro. He's either there or he's not. It depends on what grandmas you're drafting with. Jahmyr Gibbs is probably the number 1, right? Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker a little bit later. Hero RB. Running back 1 in the 3rd round. Gibbs or Pollard. If you don't get Gibbs or Pollard, I don't know that you're going to get the running back 1 you want in round 3. If anything, I'm going 0 running back, and I'm taking like Walker and Pacheco and Swift and Javonte and Breece Hall and those players. I'm accumulating 2 or 3 of those guys and going 0 running back if I miss out on Gibbs or Pollard. But Gibbs or Pollard are your 2 players. Recovery, let me know if you're still here and if you have a follow-up on that one. 3 days, 11 hours till my start of Dynasty Draft. Sick Nasty, appreciate you. Guys, we're also live. I'm alive for what will probably be about 24 hours. The Sunday of opening day. Sunday opening day. We will be here live, doing it live. Hopkins, Ron, appreciate you. Ron says Hopkins is number 1 wide receiver volume with Smith. So Ron was voting for the Hopkins side. It didn't pass. It didn't pass. So that trade didn't go through. We have a vote. I think we're going to do a segment where you guys vote the trade. You guys vote the trade through. And if you call into the show, you have to be willing to do the trade together. It's hard to get 2 people on the same line, though. Still here, Recovery said, okay, good. Recovery, does that make sense? I mean, Gibbs and Pollard are the only 2 players that I like in that territory at all that I would say is my running back 1 in the 3rd round. I don't like Ramondre there anymore. Hall's falling to like 5 or 6. Pacheco, Swift, those guys are all later. I'm not taking anybody else right there, I don't think, unless somebody fell. Like Walker's too early. Ramondre, no thank you. JT, no way. Najee's not going in 3. He's going in 4. ETN's going in like 4. I could go ETN in 3, but I think it's safer to let him fall to 4 or go different player. But Mixon, no way, Ryan. But Ryan, I do like Gibbs. I think Gibbs is the easy 3rd round call for you. Ariel, appreciate you. Where are you at, Ariel? Where's Ariel's list of players? Ariel, I'm going to come back to you. I need a list of players here because there's keepers involved. I don't know who to suggest to draft unless you give me a list of names. So I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to look for your list. Thank you, Recovery. Appreciate your super chat. Moonshot
to the moon.
To you, my guy. Appreciate you. And Matt says, got to auction Dynasty startup draft tomorrow. 10-team, 1 QB, PPR, tight end premium. 6 points per passing. 347 caller. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Is that
Ariel, my guy, Ariel. Okay, appreciate you calling in. It was just a little vague. Where are you calling from, by the way?
I live in Virginia now, but I'm from New York originally.
Okay, so Ariel from Virginia. Thank you, Ariel. Appreciate you. Thanks for the super chats, by the way.
No problem, buddy.
All right, let's hit this up. So your question here, Matt, I'm coming back to you. Matt, I'm coming back to you. Your question's right here. And you can call in too if you want, Matt, if you want the phone treatment. 10-man full PPR league. My keepers are St. Brown and Breece Hall. Don't worry about Breece Hall, bro. He's a keeper. This is does it carry over from year to year, or is this like the last year you get to keep him? Like, what's the keeper?
No, it's you could go year to year with your keepers if you want.
Yeah, don't keep Breece Hall. He's going to be fine, bro. Don't let the noise scare you away from the long-term value that is Breece Hall. So I love this so far. So give me a list of like 5 wide receivers and 5 running backs and 5 quarterbacks that'll be available at your 10th pick, and then I'll rank them for you.
So what I'm going to do real quick for you, if you don't mind, Smitty, I'm going to give you the keepers everybody else is going to do, and then I'll let you know. That lets you know what's available.
That's too hard for me to maintain in my brain, bro. Because that's how
problem.
How am I going to? Can you give me a list of just who is the top options available?
You'll have Wilson's available. Of course, all the rookies will be available.
Olave.
Olave's available. Cup is available.
St. Brown?
I have St. Brown.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. St. Brown. Okay. Olave. Pollard?
Yes, Pollard's available.
All the quarterbacks? How many quarterbacks are gone?
Every quarterback's available.
Anybody else that comes to mind that sticks out like a sore thumb? Like, oh my god.
Let me give you one more. Hold on. You got Mike Evans might be available.
Yeah. He's not in this crew.
No, I'm going to somebody's team right now.
Okay.
What
Kelsey, Tyreek Hill. Okay.
No, Kelsey's been taken. Kelsey's my friends keeping Kelsey.
A.J. Brown, Lamb, Nick Chubb.
Lamb. No, Debo's available because the other guy's keeping Lamb as a keeper instead of Debo. Nick Chubb's available.
Ridley?
Yes. Ridley's available.
Barkley?
No, Barkley's being kept.
Okay, I think I got a good feel of who's there. So I think we're good. Like Devontae Smith.
Christian Watson's available.
All right, so let me put this on screen and we'll break it down. So in general, with the fact that you got St. Brown and Brees, you got some balance going on. Even though we're worried about whether Brees will be Brees in week 1, 2, 3, 4, but I don't have questions about him on the season. Like once he gets on his horse, because he's the most talented player by a country mile on that roster. I don't care how good people all of a sudden think Dalvin Cook is again. Brees Hall is going to outperform him to an extreme degree once he's on his horse. For me, bro, it's really simple. It's really simple. Bijan Robinson's the number 1 overall player in Dynasty, period. Gibbs is in my 6 to 10, probably in my top 5 overall, but I'm not going to draft him there because I don't need to. So Gibbs would be number 2 on my target list. Tony Pollard and Olave probably tied for, Garrett Wilson. So Bijan, Gibbs, Garrett Wilson, Pollard, Olave would be my order for you.
Okay.
And the fact that you only keep 2 keepers, right? Don't discount Chubb or Ridley like immediately after that in that pecking order there, because you may not even need to turn to those 2 players when it comes down to your keeper decision, because you've got 2 amazing keepers already. So you got to be careful not to use every single player as a youthful asset on your team. You can definitely say let's rent this player from time. Rock out, give me a second, Rock out. I'm trying to accept your call, but for some reason it's not letting me with this particular caller. So for whatever reason it does that once in a while. I don't know if it has to do with his phone line or what. So Rock out, when I hang up, call back in, and then maybe Ariel, if you want to call back in, you can. So I would say that's my order. I think if you're able to get, and how many picks do you have? You have the 10 pick and what, the 10-11, or is it the 10 and
I have 10-11.
Okay, so it's 10-man league, 10-11. I'm going to go Bijan, Gibbs, Garrett Wilson, Olave, Pollard, or Pollard, Olave, really. I mean, I could do that. I would go Pollard, Olave, I guess. And then I would go Chubb, Ridley, or Ridley, Chubb, depending on how you want the balance to look. I think Chubb and Ridley are very arguable. Chubb's probably got a little bit more fantasy value. Thank you, Peanut Butter and Waivers. Appreciate your kind words.
Should I do a quarterback if there's available?
I don't mind that. But I think because the quarterbacks will probably fall, given that your league kept no quarterbacks, not one person kept a quarterback. You said every quarterback's available, and I wrote it on here, every QB. That means they don't respect quarterback. Like they don't over-respect it. They don't give it the proper.
Well,
so I think you're
I'm
gonna
the
get
commissioner, so I made it that way.
Okay, I think quarterback will probably fall to you. Sup, Smitty can't sleep on the East Coast. You can call into the phone line, Mark. I'd be glad to have you on here. Hey Ariel, can you call right back in? Let me get Rock out and
that's fine.
Call right back in as soon as. But wait until I get a caller on the phone, because for some reason your phone's not allowing other people to add on. I don't know why. So wait till I have a caller on and then call in. But call back in a second. All right. Rock out, dial in, and whoever just called a second ago, I tried to answer your call as well, and it wouldn't let it go through. So Rock out, call in. This is an easy call for me. It's Bijan, it's Gibbs, it's Garrett Wilson. Those are the top 3. Then it's probably Pollard, Olave, Pollard. This is Matt who hangs up. Matt, why do you hang up? Sometimes you just hang up and leave?
I don't know, man. I guess I just get nervous around celebrities.
Are you one of those people that goes and gets ice and then never comes back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done that at a couple of parties.
Yeah, that's dirty, bro. That's dirty of you. Yeah, hey baby, and thanks for coming in coming over to the invite me to your room, and I'm gonna go get a bucket of ice. I'll be right back. Why are you bringing your wallet, your keys, your hat, all your clothes? I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go get some ice, honey. I'm going to get some ice, Maggie. It's Margaret. Oh, Margaret, I know that's your name. And then you just bail, bro. You got the Uber already down there ordered, ready to go. You don't stick around, Matt. You don't stick around, but that's okay. Matt, what can I do for you? You're live.
How's it going? Well, thanks for taking the call, and just piggybacking off that last caller. Just everything that you do for the community is just incredible. It just is, man. So, but no, yeah. So I think I saw. I think you mentioned this to call in, and that's my super chat. So yeah, I got my auction.
Oh, this is yours.
Auction 10 team startup Dynasty draft tomorrow. So just calling to see if you had any advice for. It's my first ever auction draft. It's going to be $1,000 budget. So just kind of don't know if to go stars and scrubs approach, or kind of just wait for values, or do I just circle in on 3 guys, like get Bijan and Garrett Wilson, just spend my money on them? Just kind of thinking on some ideas. So
$1,000 budget.
Any advice would be appreciated.
$1,000 budget. That means, let's see. That means that 5 times the value normally. So 5 times 60. So your number 1 RB is going to be like $250 to $300.
Okay.
I would guess. I haven't done $1,000 auction in a long time. I do everything based off $200. That's typically the standard. But $200 auction, $1,000 auction, that's 5 times different. So $60 for a top running back is $59-$60. So times 5 is three bills. So you're looking at CMC and JJ and Chase being like $280 to like $300 roughly. My advice would be to, and I gave this advice earlier today, and I appreciate your super chat, by the way. I would call out big name players. I would definitely be active in the bidding. Don't let somebody like grab CMC for, what would be equivalent to like $55, which would be equivalent to 55 times 5 is $275. So $275 is the first player off the board, and that's the one like player that could be off. Usually everything sets a baseline and it trickles down appropriately, and then people overspend, and then you want your guys called later on. You don't want your guys called right away. You want people spending money so that they start getting conservative when your players are getting called out. However, that first player is always a wild card because people don't know what the baseline is. So if CMC goes out for $275 or equivalent in a $200 auction, $55 or whatever, then all of a sudden you're like, okay, $55, great. Now we know what it is. Then Eckler gets called up and he goes for $65, or in your budget, 5 times 65 is $325. So then you're like, holy shit, like, what are we doing here? Like, CMC just went for 55. Now Eckler's going for 65, or in your case, instead of 325. So you want to be active in those early bids in case you end up getting a steal, of a player you do like. Don't bid on players you don't like. Don't, in the beginning you will. Like if you don't want Cooper Kupp, but you call Cooper Kupp out, you're going to call him out for like $25, $30, $40, $50, $60, whatever. And you're not going to land them. You're just going to get them on the board and get people spending. Don't get caught trying to up a bid on a player you don't like and you get stuck with them. That's the absolute worst. That makes you want to walk out of an auction draft and just be like, I'm done with this. What did I do? But the whole goal is to call out big name players that you kind of don't want, or at least you're not targeting, but you would take them if you won the bid. Like Waddle would be a guy I would call out, even though I don't want him. I'd be active in the bidding, and if I landed him at a great price, I'd be happy with it. But I'm not willing to pay second round equivalent value, and so I'll call him out so that people spend second round equivalent auction dollar amounts, so that people are just spending money like crazy. You want Gibbs to be called out when people are in equivalent fashion already rostering 2-3 guys on their team. That way it's almost like you're in the 4th round. So you got to think of it like you got to think of it like you want to get as far into the actual round that you would be in if all these players were slotted into draft slots. You do not want Gibbs or Bijan being called out and the 4th or 5th player called out. Gibbs, Walker, Breece Hall, Javonte, Pacheco, Olave, Ridley. I said Kenneth Walker, I think. Gibbs? Those are all players I'm targeting, bro. They're all slightly below top tier, but they're all top tier potential. Fields, Joe Burrow.
Yep.
Like, I'm trying to get as many of those B-level guys that I believe people are missing the boat on. Every one of those guys could climb into the top tier.
Right.
That's my strategy.
I appreciate the advice. This is my first ever one, so I'm just kind of trying to gather all the information that I can. So I appreciate it. The last thing, and then I'll let you go. With it being tight end premium, I was looking at it's tough with it being a onesie position, but getting someone like a Mark Andrews or a Kyle Pitts, and then pair with a Travis Kelce, who since he's older, maybe he goes a little bit less in the Dynasty startup, might scare people off. But then that would pretty mean I think our tight end premium is 2-point PPR and 7 or 8 point per touchdown. So just thoughts on going double on premium tight ends.
No. I mean, the thing about premium, a lot of people say, okay, it's premium. Ariel, I still got your players up when you call back. The thing about premium tight end is that it doesn't really change the premise of, hey, I like these guys like Okonkwo and Cole Kmet and Kincaid, especially Kincaid. I like these guys better than overpaying. It doesn't really change anything in tight end premium because I still believe they're going to outperform at the same, line of thinking. It's the scoring goes up relative. It's not like because it's premium that changes anything. I'm all about trying to land the next TJ Hawkinson. I'm all about trying to land, and I believe Kincaid is the next TJ Hawkinson. I believe he could be the number one tight end in fantasy football. Now, you can't overpay for that. That's a bold expectation that you do not want to pay for. You want to hope for that.
Right.
But if you give me a Kincaid, and I don't know where he'd go, but I imagine if people start blowing their wad, that it'll be hard pressed to rival some of the top 4 or 5 names. So give me Kincaid all day long in a dynasty startup. Kelsey's interesting, but you got to remember that you're going to be left maybe wishing you didn't do that a year and a half from now, because things are going to change and then no one's going to want to acquire them. And I'm not saying to play for second place. I'm just saying if you strategically get youth and, not focus too much on it, you're going to have a team that can last for several years. And then, bro, a lot of these leagues fold. I know everybody thinks their group of guys is solid. It's not going anywhere. But when you start talking dynasty, there are 2 things that happen in dynasty. Number one, people start trading their draft picks away and all that, and then it makes their team unsavable. So if somebody does step away, even handing the team to somebody there's a lot of turnover in that spot because someone takes it over and they're like, this is BS. I'm not going to pay an entry fee every year to try and salvage this crappy team. Number 2,
right,
when there's dynasty involved, people do a bad job planning for the future, and then they walk away because it's a very common thing, and it's human nature too. You can't really blame somebody totally for sitting there going, this team's going to lose year after year, and I'm just going to be shoving $100 or whatever the entry fee is every year. So if this team's not going to win the championship for 5 straight years, I'm going to get $500 just away for free. So their family's pressuring them. You can only do 3 leagues, and they say, okay, guys, I can't do this league anymore. I'm too busy. And you leave the league, and these leagues fold more than anybody wants to admit. Dynasty makes it really hard. Really, really hard, bro. So if it's me, I build for 2 to 3 year window or 1 to 3 year window, not 4, 5, 6.
Good to know, man. Hey, Smitty, thanks as always, brother, for all you do for the community. I'll screen record this clip later tonight so I can memorize it for tomorrow. So just thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you as always.
Peace out, bro. Matt to the moon. Thank you for the super chat. Rock out. Mars Man Rock out on the phone line right now. Ariel, I got your stuff right here for when you call back. I don't know where you went. But I gave you the information. You're probably good to go, but I'd be happy to talk to you about it. Mark Cleveland, I'm waiting for your call. If you can't sleep, I'm here for you, pal. Marsman Rock Out. What are you thinking about Tony Pollard? Are you okay with him being put on the Marsman list and me not taking Breece Hall off of anything necessarily? I mean, took him off the Marsman list for now. I added him to the midseason monsters, but he's not being removed from the Moonman list. He's been on the Moonman list. Are you feeling that like that's the right decision?
Yeah, I'm Pollard on the Mars man.
He's such a Mars man. My dilemma is how do I get him on how do I get Walker on the Mars man list?
Yeah.
Yeah. I also have a dilemma of look at the Moonman list real quick.
The Moon Men.
So I removed Pollard.
Loads in outer space.
I removed Pollard because I put him on the Marsman list, but yet I'm not removing Gibbs and Bijan
Space Monsters
and Olave and Garrett Wilson. So like part of me is like, why am I removing Pollard then? You know, I'm not being consistent with who I take off and who I leave on. And when I did that one time, someone suggested that they shouldn't duplicate so they're different lists. But when I did it, I hated the Moonman list. I didn't hate it, but I'm like, this is not the same. So like part of me is like, maybe I don't take Pollard off it, and I just add Pollard to the Marsman list by taking Hall off the Marsman list, but not removing Pollard from the Moonman list. So we'll have to see. Everyone's wives everywhere and significant others are like, what in the hell show are you watching? Space Cadet show? Like, what is going on here? What else is on your mind, Marsman Rock Out?
Well, I sent you a DM.
Let's see. Can you turn the volume down in the background, Ariel, or whoever's got the show playing in the background? This is Rock Out's latest tune here. And yeah, keep them about 10 to 12 seconds if you can, Rock Out. Here's his newest jam. It's good, bro. That was about 12 seconds, too, because it just had a little bit of a awesome job, Rock Out. He's such an amazing artist. He's going to be ripped from our grip and signed to a label before you know it. So enjoy Rock Out while you can, because he's going to forget about us and go sign with Eminem's label before you know it. Ariel, Rock Out, hang tight. Ariel, did I answer your question, Ariel, on the Super Chat here? Appreciate your Super Chat, by the way. So it's easy for me. Easy. Yes, Bijan, Gibbs, Garrett Wilson, and then Pollard, Olave, or Olave, Pollard. Very, very easy. And because every QB is available, I do think you'll have a good shot at least T-Law, maybe Burrow, maybe Fields, maybe not Fields, because Fields is absolutely glorious. This man Fields is just nothing but a ray of sunshine. Any other follow-up questions to this question?
No, I was thinking a receiver running back at 10-11 and then coming out the next time and going Fields or T-Law and somebody else.
I think if you do that, they're gonna have to carry you out because you're gonna be so enamored with your team. You're gonna pass out, and they're gonna be like, "Wake up, Ariel, you're dreaming." Can you imagine waking up and it's all a dream? You don't have Bijan, Garrett Wilson, Gibbs, Fields. You're gonna crush it, bro. You're gonna crush it. What do you think about Pollard in the Marsman edition? Are you on the Pollard train?
I had Pollard last year until he got hurt. So
at a boy,
I usually I had him and Javonte, and both of them got hurt. So.
Yeah, I mean it was a tough injury for sure. I mean nobody was excited to see Pollard and Javonte and Hall all get injured. That was a kick to the nuts 3 times. But I think our picks were correct. Our instinct was correct. I think we would have, this community, the Fantasy Football Show community, our soldiers would have won so many leagues hand over fist if we didn't get hit with the triple-decker injury strike. And these are all like freak injuries. There's no way to predict Tony Pollard breaking his fibula. there's no way to predict that Javonte and Breece Hall would have both suffered torn ACLs. And Deuce Vaughn is an absolute handcuff to Pollard virtues, yes. But I just, woulda, shoulda, coulda. This year we're going to tear it up. Our Moon Men are going to tear it up. And I hope to God we don't have a slow start like we did last year. Last year was painfully slow starting. And then it got on its horse, and then we had injuries, but we still recovered. We had Walker, we had Pierce, we had Jalen Hurts. Look, quietly, Jalen Hurts is probably the best prediction this show has ever had. And so we had a good year last year. It sucked that it wasn't, it could have been so much better. And I think this year we're going to nail a lot of things. Injuries happen. We're going to get hit hard with something. The Breece Hall stuff's already kind of like a punch to the gut. But I still believe in him, and I still love his new value. But that is one hit we've kind of taken. But we've also had some success. Let me hit the Moon Man button real quick.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
I mean, we've already had a lot of success so far. I mean, it's very early on, but
Space Monsters.
I mean, Ridley's looking amazing. Dell's looking amazing. Dotson and Pickens both look phenomenal. Watson's getting heavy targets. Garrett Wilson's been as advertised. Bijan, we know, is going to explode. Gibbs has just been, everyone's getting on the Gibbs train now. Javonte, the only one that's got any questions at all really right now is Breece Hall. Fields is Fields is our Jalen Hurts. Fields is our Jalen Hurts this year. This movement list is glory. It's straight glory. And I think I got to put Pollard back on it just because it doesn't make sense to remove him and not remove the other guys that are on both lists. But we got this right here, the midseason monster list: JSN, Herbert, Hall, and Flowers. What is the midseason monster list? It means that these guys will be playing at Moonmen level by at least midseason, maybe earlier. That is your midseason monster list, ladies and gentlemen. Anything else, Ariel?
Last question. Since I have Hall, should I go after Cook now?
Yes.
As a handcuff?
Absolutely.
Like thank you.
At what cost? I
I'm
mean,
good now.
at what cost? It depends. But yes, I mean, cooking. I'll have a handcuff video hopefully tomorrow or the next day. Handcuff video coming. It's needed. Objectivity needs to be, present. I always try and bring up objectivity. I do not want to be somebody that has bias involved that infects the content, and that goes for Breece Hall. Like, the cuffing is important enough. It's not something where I'm going to blow off Dalvin Cook to the degree where I say he's not the most important handcuff in fantasy football. He's one of them. Charbonnet, Deuce Vaughn. I mean, obviously I'm not necessarily ranking them in order of importance, but there are certain cuffs that are must-have cuffs. McKinnon, even though McKinnon's got standalone amazing value, and in Pollard and Deuce Vaughn, like I said. But Cook is probably one of the most valuable handcuffs. And some would say Breece Hall's the handcuff to Cook. And I don't necessarily disagree in week one, but I think that will be laughable later. Just like Melvin Gordon was a threat to Javonte, that was laughable. He got cut. Javonte tore his ACL. If Javonte didn't tear his ACL, that exact game or the very next game, Javonte would have been given every single carry. It was on its way. That's why when people say Hackett's all about running back by committee, I don't necessarily think that Hackett makes those decisions. He's not the head coach. He's an offensive coordinator over in New York, there for Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't make all these decisions by himself. And of course, if Breece Hall was going nuts, he can't just continue to take them out. It's not going to be the case. Not to mention, he was begging one running back to take all the carries in Denver after Javonte's ACL tear. It was bad timing. It was frustrating. We hated what Hackett did. Hackett's not a good he's a good offensive coordinator with Aaron Rodgers, but he's obviously a horrible head coach. And when he's got too many fires going, he can't make good decisions, and he shouldn't be coaching at all from a head coach perspective. But as an offensive coordinator, I'm not scared of Breece Hall's workload because Hackett's there. I am so excited about what Aaron Rodgers could turn Breece Hall into, given Aaron Jones' success under A-Rod, given how A-Rod likes to dump it off to the RB, given how Breece Hall proved that he was a 100-yard receiving running back on any occasion they needed him to be. This is a man that could get equal parts receiving production, equal parts running production if they needed him to do that. I know Dalvin Cook's got some talent. I know Dalvin Cook still got some gas left in the tank. But if Dalvin Cook is absolutely glory and he's out there balling out, he's going to be being overfed to the point where he's going to get hurt. Like, at the end of the day, Hall is getting in there. And the people that are just jumping off the Hall train, I'm gonna take away Hall cards as well, Breece Hall cards, because everyone's forgetting how good he is. Just because Dalvin Cook landed on the roster doesn't mean Breece Hall isn't going to shine. Is he gonna have a delayed unleashing? Probably. And that's the reality of the situation we all have to come to terms on. But given that he would have finished as the number 1 or number 2 overall running back on Week 17's end, even with the slow start that had him only doing work in like Week 4 on, same thing could happen. He could be a top 5 running back without being unleashed until Week 5, Week 6. He could still be the number 1 running back in the National Football League on about 10 to 11 full go games. I'm not saying it's ideal. I'm not saying it's what you want, but at the end of the day, you could say this. You could make an argument that if Breece Hall, coming off the ACL tear, walked into Week 1 getting full go volume, he could suffer a compensation injury or be more likely to than if they don't ease it. They ease him in and they don't unleash him until Week 5. If they unleash him in Week 5 or Week 6 and you give him, let's say, 10, 11, 9, 10, 11 straight games of just workhorse volume, he's probably going to stay healthy. And maybe he actually scores more points at the end of the season in that context, being used, in a not zero type of role, but a 50-50 role. And he has efficiency. He scores maybe 2 touchdowns in the first 4 weeks. Maybe he gets a 100-yard total yard game, and then he has a couple mediocre yardage games, but salvages the game with a touchdown. And they're like excited about getting Breece back on the field. The fan base is behind it. He's an exciting player. He's getting his explosiveness back. Maybe he kind of squeaks along the first 2, 3, 4 weeks, gets you decent points, like low-end running back 2 points, let's say. Let's say he scores 2 touchdowns in 4 games and has like a total of 150, 180 yards total. Like kind of like really dragging along the yardage, right? But in 4 games does that. Then in Week 5, they unleash him. Then he could score more points from Week 5 or Week 6 on than he would have all season long if they ran him out too early and let's say he started getting banged up and he had some swelling. So we got to look at this from the positive perspective of Breece Hall. Is Breece Hall? Nothing has changed in terms of his talent. So anyway. Smitty, would it be dumb to draft Wilson and Breece? No. Garrett Wilson and Breece. Not dumb at all, Ty Lee. You know what would be dumb, Ty Lee? To avoid Joe Burrow. All right. Hey, Ariel, appreciate you, bro. Call in anytime. I got you dialed in here. Yeah, I got you dialed in here, so you're good to go. Dial in anytime. Appreciate you. Later.
Later.
Rock out. Any final thoughts before I call it a night? I've been here for 3 hours, so.
No, you're good. Appreciate it.
Rock out. Thank you for the amazing beat. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, see you.
Don't forget, Grindhouse is our sponsor of every graveyard show. Grindhouse, Grndhaus, otherwise pronounced, if you will, Groundhouse. Grindhouse.com. Get your hoodie on. Best hoodies around, in my opinion, and I'm not just saying that. They were my sponsor last year of the Graveyard shows and the Panic Chamber shows, and when we do Panic Chamber, you'll see this right here.
You are entering the Panic Chamber, brought to you by Grindhouse.
And we're going to be doing some Panic Chamber episodes. There's Joe Mixon. Hey, Joe. Oh, Joe, where are you going, Joe? Joe? We'll be doing some Grindhouse Panic Chamber episodes here shortly. I think Breece Hall probably needs to be the first on the docket. Maybe I'll do one tomorrow. I need to write all this down. I got so many shows that I got to do. So many shows. Panic Chamber, Hall. Panic, Hall. I was saying Grindhouse. I love Grindhouse so much that after I truly, genuinely love the owner. I love the brand. I love the apparel. I love everything about it. I love having a sponsor like Grindhouse. If somebody came along and offered me more whatever for being a sponsor of this show, I would turn them down because I want Grindhouse. I want Grindhouse. I want Grindhouse to be a part of this show for the rest of my life because I absolutely love everything about the company and I love the brand. I love the comfort of the apparel. I love its movies and t-shirts, and it's all related to things I love. I love the old classics, the cult classics. I'm telling you, I'm not even. There's no need for me to overpump this. I don't need to, but I want to, and I want people to go to grindhouse.com and get you some hoodies. We also have the Trevor Lawrence Milk apparel coming out on Grindhouse, which you can purchase, and we'll give away like a hoodie or a shirt to anybody that that buys. Let's say we'll give away a shirt to anybody that buys 2 hoodies or a shirt and a hoodie. You'll get a free Trevor Lawrence Law Dog shirt or something. We're going to come up with a plan to get you guys that Law Dog shirt. But grindhouse.com, I practically begged them to come back. I'm like, I want you guys back again. And they're like, we'd be happy to, but I seriously was like, you guys are amazing. I absolutely love promoting them. So check them out, grindhouse.com. Let me drop the link in the live chat. It's in the description of every video. But grindhouse.com. You can follow them on Instagram. There's the link. You can follow them on Instagram at Grindhouse Supply. GRNDHAUS Supply on IG. So go check them out in grindhouse.com, grndhaus.com. That is our graveyard sponsor for every single show throughout the entire off season. Now, I will see you all later. I appreciate every single one of you super chatters out there. I appreciate every one of you exclusive members. Super chatters tonight were Matt, Sick Nasty, appreciate you, Sick Nasty, you're my guy. Recovery, Ariel, Heat dropping some heat tonight, $50 hauler, another super chat. Racing Boy, Scotty Do with the double, Heat again with the $5 hauler. Riviera, Daniel O'Connor, Scotty Do, MCF 1988 with the $20 hauler. Charles T, Grin, Zach, appreciate you, Zach. Jeffrey, AGM, and Andre with a $20 hauler to kick off the show. Appreciate you, Andre. Thank you for being a part of this show. Thank you, all of you. I will see you all tomorrow. Probably some sort of premiere and breaking news show on top of the 8 p.m. show. So at least 2 shows tomorrow. Dynasty channel will do something tomorrow on that as well. Hopefully we'll do a Breece Hall video as well. So we'll do a Breece Hall Dynasty show. We'll do a Panic Chamber Breece Hall show potentially. The wide receiver or the zero, maybe the Kelsey video will be tomorrow, or the 0 RB. We did the hero RB. We'll do the 0 RB. I'll see you all later. Appreciate you all. Go get New York jetted. Come on, man. Pick up.
Please leave your message after the tone.
Hey, man, it's Devontae Adams again. Call me back, bro.
In your eyes, the light that hit your eyes, incomplete your lies. Your eyes.
Garrett Wilson and the boys.
Your eyes.
Rogers has new toys.
Your eyes.
The lights, the heat.
Your eyes.
The Jets fan complete.
Your eyes.
You don't want to test Sauce Gardner's heat.
Your eyes.
I want to watch Breece Hall's quick feet.
Jets country, let's ride.
Andre, appreciate your $10 hauler, broski, coming in at the end in the nick of time. Look at this man. Look at this man. Oh, what? Wrong button. Look at this man's super chat right here. Wrong button again. Wrong button again, Smitty. Look at this super chat right here. Great show as always. Andre, appreciate your super chat. Scotty Dew says this show's still live. That's right, Scotty.
A lion lives among us, posing as half man, half lawman. His golden mane is reportedly 6 feet long and is bathed in milk.
That's right.
His marvelous mane grows longer with each breath he takes. Legend has it that if you say T-Law in the dark in the bathroom 3 times, you lose your league instantly. Conspiracy fanatics have linked his triangle bone structure to the ancient pyramids and alien theory.
Thank you, Andre. Jets country, let's ride. Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, live whenever news breaks. All other kinds of uploads all over the place, doing it live. Appreciating you live. Drafting live. Travis, appreciate you. Sick Nasty, appreciate you. My mods, my graveyard mods, my zombie mods. That's what we're going to call you guys. Travis and Sick Nasty are my zombie mods. Terry Roberts is my, I don't know. We'll have to come up with some sort of, he's like the wild card, like the cowboy mod. He's just a cowboy. Got my cowboy mod. I got my zombie graveyard mods. Blackbeard is like the, I don't know, the most civil. He's like the principal. I don't know. Wendigo, Sick Nasty, Last Action Hero, Raul, Jarrett, Mark, Frank the Tank, Mr. Bakes, Joel, Scotty Dew, Travis Rowe, Sick Nasty, Joel. Appreciate every single one of you. Peanut butter and waivers. Peace out. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.